Overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice, special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews. actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
A lot to get into in sports. We have a new Stanley Cup champion, the Florida Panthers. A lot to get into basketball as we have the NBA draft tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny Atkinson has a new job heading to the Cavaliers, and LeBron James wants $160 million and much, much more here on the Sports Loudmouth. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the player $300 million. You better be sure that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely lost on calling plays. Maybe he's a therapist. Did you see Lamar Jackson cry to the referee? No, he didn't. Welcome to a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. Happy graduation for all the kids. If you're a college student, if you're a high school student, If you're a kindergartner going into first grade, I guess. I don't know. Haven't been there for a long time, but happy graduation for all and everyone. Remember, you're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey, our executive producer. What's going on, Speedy? What are you doing? Playing music? You're trying to scare everybody away. Our executive producer, Fish, and Tommy Scoops as our Sports Minute guy. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Speedy, now when I tell you, you can play it. But before that, how are you?
Yes, I actually have two cousins that are graduating as well.
So you just decided to just blast it in my ear?
No. I was trying to drag it back, and I clicked the play button.
You're trying to scare everybody away. That's what you tried to do.
Yeah, I did it by accident.
That's what you do best. You scare people away.
Apparently I did, but
yeah, you did. Anyways,
I tried to drag it to the beginning of the video.
Well, I want to give a shout out before I give a shout out to all the graduates that are graduating. Speedy, you can hit the music. All right, Speedy, shut it off. You're killing me here. Congratulations to Tommy out there. Thomas, I know you're listening to the show. Congratulations to him. He's graduating from high school, heading to college. I have a friend of a friend. His brother is graduating. His name is Mike. He's graduating. So congratulations to him, graduating, heading to college, and all the people out there, all the graduates are very well deserved. All the hard work and dedication for all the high school and college kids, and even, like I said, middle school kids that are moving on to high school or middle school, whatever the hell it is. Congratulations to them. It's been a crazy, crazy week. For me, Speedy, your uncle's back.
Yes.
What is it? It's been a year, 2 years?
Yes, it's been about a year. His family came up from Florida.
Nobody cares. I mean, just get to the point here.
Yes.
Oh, spit it out. Spit it out.
Okay, I'm getting there, but you keep interrupting.
You're scaring the hell out of my fans.
But yeah, they came out over the weekend. His son, Adam, is actually one of the guys that in my family that is graduating. His graduation is today, and my cousin Nicholas is graduating tomorrow. So congratulations to both of them as well, graduating high school and now headed off to college as well, and definitely had a fun weekend with them outside and barbecuing and all that stuff.
As everybody knows, we have a great show lined up for you guys. A little bit later in the show at 8:30, we'll be talking to former Bengals and Commanders tight end Rick Doc Walker. He's been on our show. He's fantastic. Very, very funny. We'll get into some football with him. The Panthers win their first Stanley Cup and the first Stanley Cup in franchise history. So congratulations to the Florida Panthers. We will get into it. The Lakers will give LeBron James a 3-year deal worth about $160 million. I think it's crazy, but we will get into that. The Warriors and the Knicks are both interested in trading for Paul George. And what a story this is. OG Anunoby opts out of his deal and will become a free agent, which we expected. So we will get into that. Cavs hired Kenny Atkinson as their next head coach. Love the deal. I'm loving this, and I think this is going to help the Cavaliers and draw Donovan Mitchell to sign that extension. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., something that his father didn't want to do, says he would be interested in playing for the New York Yankees, as there's been trade talks over the last, I would say, month and a half, sending Vladimir Guerrero to the New York Yankees. That would be crazy in the middle of that lineup. Edwin Diaz suspended for 10 games for a sticky substance violation, as everybody that watched the game the other day. Horrible, horrible call by the umpires. Just absolutely terrible. We will get into that. And let's parlay with Reno Johnny and Derek and maybe Wes. He might be joining us a little bit later in the show as well. The topic I want to get into is this one, and it's LeBron James. LeBron James seems to really drive people to listen. So I really wanted to get into this story. ESPN reports that the Lakers are set to give LeBron James a new 3-year extension worth over $160 million. LeBron has until June 29th to opt into his $51.4 million contract option, but reports say he is likely to decline it and become a free agent. There is a belief that LeBron would have taken several one-year deals rather than 3-year deal with the Lakers, but he's deciding to go with the 3-year deal. Anthony Davis also says he wants the Lakers to go all in to get another all-star caliber player. JJ Redick signed a 4-year deal with the Lakers and also mentioned he will not do his podcast during the season, which I called. I told everybody last week, but I also told everybody in a conversation in the chat, a sports chat yesterday, there was no way that JJ Redick was going to do a show in the middle of the season. He will have no time. But here's the thing. LeBron James right now is in the driver's seat. He's been in the driver's seat really since he's come into the league, as everybody calls him the king. And the Lakers right now, bringing in JJ Redick, this had nothing to do with the Lakers wanting JJ Redick. It had everything to do with LeBron James. LeBron James wanted JJ, and that's why JJ has a spot as the head coach for the LA Lakers. This is a guy that has no background in coaching. He's never coached in his life. And everybody's going to say, well, look at the Knicks, look at the Yankees. The Yankees have Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone has no coaching background, and look how good he's been for the New York Yankees. But has he won? And Aaron Boone went to the Yankees organization where there is no salary cap. The Yankees could spend whatever they want. They could bring in whoever they want. Basketball is different. There's a cap. You cannot just sign another player or trade for another player unless the contracts match up or their free agents are traded, or they have room in free agency to bring in another star to play with their other player or 2 stars. It doesn't work. Basketball is completely different than baseball. So you can hide a manager's play calls in baseball. You really can't hide what is going on with a basketball team. If you don't have stars on your basketball team, it doesn't matter how good the coach is. Those are the facts. Greg Popovich, we've seen how great he is as a head coach. Ever since Tim Duncan retired, Manu Ginobili retired, Tony Parker retired, Kawhi Leonard was traded. This team has not been a good team. When was the last time the San Antonio Spurs have been in the playoffs? That doesn't take away how good Greg Popovich is as a head coach. You need players to win. Now, we know the big man there is going to change everything for him, as we've seen this year how great he is winning Rookie of the Year. LeBron James is 40 years old. He's not getting any younger. He's averaging 26 points a game, 7 rebounds per game, and about 7.8 assists per game. He's still putting up good numbers. But if you give LeBron James a 3-year, $160 million contract, what does this say about this team? What does it say about this organization? Where is this organization heading? Anthony Davis could say whatever he wants. There's been talks that they are looking to trade him to Chicago. There's a lot of conversations on where this team is heading and where Jeannie Buss believes this organization will be in 5 years. Will they be sold? Will the Lakers finally be sold? Are the Buss family just fed up in trying to deliver championship after championship after championship to the Laker fans? Maybe Jack Nicholson could buy the team. The fact is, you look at the Lakers right now, LeBron James is a shell of himself. That doesn't mean he's not a great player, but does he make everybody around him better? He does in some thought. But does he do what he did with the Cavaliers when they won with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love? Does he do the same that he did over there in Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh? The answer is no. Now, if I paid LeBron James $60 million a year when he was in Miami, I'd do it. I would absolutely do it. You can write that contract up. I would sign it and say, here you go, LeBron. But at the age of 40, he's not getting any younger. He wants his son to play with him. If you're an organization, are you going to trust that your organization is in good hands with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? The answer is no. It isn't. And to give this guy a 3-year extension worth about $160 million only sets your team back for 3 years. Now, is LeBron going to take that contract? Absolutely is. But what are they going to do? Anthony Davis says he wants to play with another all-star caliber player. How is that going to work? If you're giving LeBron James 60 and you're paying Anthony Davis probably around 45, that's over 100 and some odd million. You got to pay all your rookies. You got to pay all the other players that you have on your team. You have nothing to trade. The fact is, you don't. You have nothing. And this organization, just like the Clippers, they're only getting older. They're only getting older. There is nothing that sells me that the Lakers in 2, 3, even 4 years would be a destination that a player wants to go and play. It's not what it used to be. They always had a superstar young player in the mix. Go down 10 year after 10 years after 10 years. Scoop it up, baby. I don't have it right in front of my face, but if you look, they've always had a young player when they brought in a superstar player to play with them. They don't have that guy. They don't. And if you're a Laker fan, you can't be excited about LeBron James signing a 3-year, $160 million contract. Now, everybody keeps talking about Paul George. First of all, if they give LeBron James a 3-year, $160 million contract, there's no way in hell Paul George will be traded to the Lakers. There's no way in hell Paul George would be traded to the Lakers because he plays for the Clippers. I cannot see the Clippers doing that either. For all you Laker fans all over social media saying, well, why aren't the Lakers involved with this? Why is it just Golden State and New York? The reason why is the Clippers aren't going to trade you to the same team that plays in the Staples Center with you. It doesn't make sense. And what are you going to bring in? Zach LaVine? Zach LaVine isn't a superstar. He might be, you compare him in some years as a star. Yeah. But he's not a superstar. And there's nobody right now that plays two-dimensional basketball, two-way basketball that I would bring in to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You need to bring in a shutdown defender, a Rudy Gobert type of defender. That's what you need. You need a guy that's going to protect the net, because the Lakers this year, especially when going into the end of the season and going right to the playoffs, what were their problems? Defense. Paint defense. They can't defend anybody going to the hole. And then when you look at the Lakers, who's shooting up the threes? Mm-hmm. Where are they getting the three ball? And do not say D'Angelo Russell, because that guy can't hit a three if your life depended on it.
Oh, he can hit a three just with a donut.
There is nothing that could sell me right now if I was JJ Redick or this Laker team that I would say, hey, you know what? Let's give LeBron James $160 million. We have a chance to win, because this doesn't make any sense. This sets the team back. Jeannie Buss, I understand what she's trying to do. She's a smart woman. She comes from the Buss family. Dr. Buss was a very smart, educated man who understood how to build teams from top to bottom. You saw what he did when he took over the team and when he bought the team in the 70s. We all saw what he did, and then in the 80s and then the 90s, drafting Kobe and bringing in Jerry West to run the organization. He was a genius. Dr. Buss is dead. There is nothing that tells me right now, when you look at the Lakers in this organization, that doesn't take away what LeBron James does. He puts fannies in the seats. There's no question that he does that. He draws people to want to come and watch him play. But guess what? He only plays 55, 56 games in a season. This isn't Michael Jordan. This isn't Magic Johnson when he was healthy, or Larry Bird, or any of those guys. Even Shaq played more games when he was a young player than LeBron James does. It's sad the way basketball has transitioned. But if I was the Lakers, this was a terrible move. The JJ Redick, terrible move by an organization that is expected to win every single year. You want to bring in a superstar coach. You want to bring in superstar players. You give LeBron James this kind of money, there's no way you're going to be able to bring in that other factor player that you could bring in either in free agency or at trade. There's nothing because the contracts have to match in basketball. And without Anthony Davis in the trade, there's nothing on their team that anybody would want.
No, and you also look at the fact that you look at the young depth that even that they've had at certain years. Like, it's very streaky year to year, inconsistent. Like, we were raving about Austin Reeves. He's probably the one that's been consistent. We were raving about Hachimura in the playoffs. He had a bad year this year after a good year the year before. And a lot of these other young players, they've had to trade in these other deals to cater to LeBron's agenda because he has to get his guys. He has to be GM LeBron. Think about all the young talent with Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart. And Kuzma was the only one they kept.
Julius Randle, yep.
So they really just...
Who was a big Kobe guy, by the way.
Right. And so they really catered to that way of thinking for a while to rebuild that. Like you said, they had young stars that have been luring other young stars there. The Lakers have gotten lucky in the draft, and they made that kind of thing work. And now they've gone full all in on just catering to everything LeBron wants, and now they're seeing the price. And at 38 years old, it's going to be really hard for him to be able to make that work to the same level he did in Miami. And even the second stint with the Cavaliers, he was doing a lot of those things too, trading for J.R. Smith and Amon Shumpert and trading for Kevin Love when they drafted Andrew Wiggins. Like, they did a lot of different things to cater to LeBron's agenda, and they won a championship there in Cleveland. But this age, for that much money, it's not going to be worth it. Yes, the NBA salary cap is going to go up, but how much? Where it's going to make a difference?
Not enough. Not enough for another superstar to come and play over there. I mean, and even if you trade D'Angelo Russell, who wants him? Who wants D'Angelo Russell right now? He is not a good player. You saw what he did in the playoffs. He's not good. He forces up shots. He's not a three-point shooter. And what you want in the NBA is you need somebody that's going to be a 38 to 40% three-point shooter. You need somebody on the perimeter that's going to be able to hit those open shots. The Lakers don't have that. They don't have that type of player. The only thing they have is a guy that, like LeBron James, that makes everybody around him better. But again, he's 40 years old. He's one injury away from career ending. Just think about it. If LeBron James hurts himself, his career's over. Kobe Bryant, he hurt himself at 39 years old. His career, when he tore his Achilles, he was 39 years old. LeBron James is right there. He's right at that cutting edge. All it takes is one dive, one jump, and his knee can go. We all know what happened to Paul George in the USA. The USA, it wasn't the Olympics. It was the World Championships. He broke his leg. It snapped in half. People thought it was career ending. The way he came back and the way he's become the NBA player he was before the injury is a pretty amazing thing. LeBron James is not, and Paul George hurt himself at the age of 30, 29. I mean, LeBron James is 10 years older. The amount of beating that LeBron James put on his body year after year after year. How many finals did he go into consecutively? I think it was 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of torque on your body. And you're paying a guy $60 million a year for the next 3 years for all that torque. I think they're selling too high on this. They're selling way too high. If I was Jeannie Buss, I would call LeBron out. I would say, listen, you want to win a championship? Opt into your $51.4 million contract. We will bring in Bronny James. We'll bring in your son, and we will bring in another superstar that makes sense that will fit with you and Anthony Davis, and we can go on another run for a championship. That would be the only way I would be looking at LeBron James and saying, we brought your guy in. We brought JJ Redick in. We're doing everything we possibly can to suit you and make you happy. Now you got to do what we need you to do and take less money so we can bring in another star to play with you guys.
And also maybe have less, not necessarily control.
He doesn't need the money anyways.
Right.
He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire. Look at the production companies, the bars, and all the different things. Pizzerias. He's got everything. He runs LA. He runs everything.
He runs the bad sequels.
Him and Magic Johnson run everything in LA. They do. What does he need the money for? What does he really need $60 million a year? No. I mean, Tom Brady took less money. Tom Brady took what? $17 million, $18 million a year with the Patriots to win championships. Why can't LeBron do the same? And by the way, Brady did it in the prime of his career.
And Brady also did it in a sport where it's much tougher to develop the players because you need to develop more positions.
And Brady doesn't have $1 billion. He's got what, 300 million, 400 million. He's still rich. What do you need $60 million a year to prove a point that you're the highest paid player in the NBA? Is that what you're trying to sell to the fans? Because to me, I want to see championships. If I'm the Lakers organization who's trying to catch up to, I don't know, the Celtics, who just had their 18th championship and they have the record now, they have more championships than any NBA team. If I'm looking at that, wouldn't that tell me, hey, you know what? We got to keep winning. We got to keep on chase with the Celtics. That would make sense. Why did you go to the Lakers? To win championships, to be the face of a Laker, organization, a dynasty for years that has conquered basketball on higher heights with Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We could go on and on and on. Jerry West. This is an organization, Wilt Chamberlain, that had superstar after superstar after superstar. LeBron James is the second biggest superstar in NBA history, right behind Michael Jordan. He's there, and he should be drawing eyes. He should be drawing players that want to go and play with him, that want to win championships with the Lakers. And guess what? It's not going to happen because LeBron's going to take this money and he's going to run with it. He's still going to get his son. He's still going to get what he wants. And the organization's going to be set back for the next 6 to 7 years on even chances of winning a championship.
And every time the Lakers have had sustained success, it's always come for the fact of a younger in their prime superstar and legendary type player. And LeBron James is not that at this point in his career. Now, they did win a championship 4 years ago in the COVID year, and LeBron and Anthony Davis deserve a lot of credit for that. But in terms of the team building structure, all the other times that the Lakers have won, they've had that young star, and then they filled in the big name free agents on the other positions, like the 80s, the Showtime Lakers. Magic Johnson was their own draft pick. They got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as a free agent signing at the end of his career, and they still made it work. He was still one of the best centers in the league. And same thing with Kobe and Shaq. Like, they built this other young talent. The Lakers don't have that kind of thing now. They're trusting LeBron to be that guy. And for $60 million a year, good luck.
It doesn't make any sense. If you're a Laker fan, you can't be happy with this. You really can't be. I mean, you're contrasting this Laker team from all the rest. This is probably one of the worst Laker teams we've seen in probably the last 15 years. Yeah. I'm just speaking the truth. And being an 8th seed or a 9th seed or a play-in team, that's not going to sell me. That's not going to sell anybody to go and watch Laker games. They're going to sell out because it is the Lakers. It is Showtime, and everybody loves them because of where they're positioned and who they are as an organization. But again, this isn't the same Showtime Lakers. This isn't Magic Johnson and Kareem. This isn't Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe. This is LeBron and Anthony Davis that won one championship in the bubble year and have not won anything or even come close to it. Yeah, they went to a Western Conference championship, and that was really because of the soft teams that they played all the way to the Western Conference. Got hurt. And then they got crushed by the Denver Nuggets. They got swept by the Denver Nuggets, which LeBron didn't want to give him any credit. All he kept saying was, oh, I might retire. And he only did that to take really the spotlight off of Jokic, who was becoming the superstar of the NBA. That's what LeBron James does. He does that all the time. And that doesn't take away what LeBron James stands for. LeBron James stands for money. That's what it stands for. Money Mayweather. That's what LeBron is. He draws people to want to come watch basketball because he is center stage. He is Showtime right now, but he is not the same LeBron James he was in Miami. He was not, and he's not the same LeBron James as he was with the Cavaliers. And that, to me, sets the Lakers back because they're going to give him $160 million. NBA insider Marc Stein reports that the Knicks and the Warriors have expressed interest in trading for Paul George. Stein also says the executives believe he will opt into his $48.8 million player option and force them to trade him no matter what. The Warriors will likely decline Chris Paul's $30 million player option and would have to let Klay Thompson go if they want to pursue Paul George. The Knicks would likely have to trade Julius Randle and multiple first-round picks to trade for George. OG Anunoby also opted out of his contract with the Knicks, which would only be one year deal, which is he wants a bigger deal, and the Knicks will probably give it to him. But if they can't get George is seeking a deal around 4 years, $212 million with a new team. He's not going back to the Clippers because he knows he's not going to win with the Clippers. He's not the guy over there with the Clippers. He won't be the guy with the Warriors either, and he won't be the guy with the Knicks as well. Jalen Brunson is the guy now. Steph Curry is the guy over there with the Warriors. Now, if they bring in a guy like Paul George, are they one of the favorites to come out of the West? 100%. But Paul George can't stay healthy. And to bring in Paul George, you're not going to have Klay Thompson. And you're going to probably have to trade other pieces away to make it fit. And Draymond Green is a shell of himself, as we went into his numbers last week. It wouldn't make sense for Paul George to go to the Warriors because the Warriors are transitioning. The Warriors could be, in the next 2 years, thinking about trading Steph Curry because they need to rebuild. And that's what the Lakers should be doing. Trading LeBron, a sign and trade, and try to bring in some young players or draft stock that they can build a future for the organization. The Warriors are right there. They lost Myers. He decided to step down. He's working with the Commanders. He's doing broadcasting right now. The Warriors are right there on the cusp. I don't care what Steve Kerr says. I don't care what Steph Curry says, that they have another one in them. They don't. They're done. Their run is over. It's been over since their last championship 3.5 years ago. It's over. That's the facts. The best place for a guy like Paul George is the Knicks. But guess what? Are the Knicks willing to give a guy that can never stay healthy, I can't even remember the last time he played a full 82-game season. I can't even remember. The problem right now is when you look at the organization and you look at the position that they're in, it doesn't make sense for the organization to bring in a guy like Paul George. They're ready to win now. And they can win with the young players that they have. Does Paul George get you over the hump? He doesn't. He doesn't. So you sit here and you're wondering, where do the Knicks go in the offseason if they don't land Paul George? Because there's nothing out there right now. There really isn't. And that's why the Knicks are reaching. Because they believe that this team right now, the way it's set up, cannot beat any of those primetime teams. Those teams like the Celtics, the team like the Nuggets or the Timberwolves or any one of these teams, even the Dallas Mavericks. They think that they're one player away from jumping those guys. But I don't know if Paul George is the guy that you're going to say, hey, you know what? He's the perfect guy that's going to jump. He's the perfect guy that's going to make us jump. That's what worries me about the whole Paul George thing. I understand why, if you're a Knicks fan, Paul George is a big name. It draws people. Oh, my God, it's Paul George. We're going to bring in Paul George. We're going to win a championship. We said the same thing about OG Anunoby. He's the same type of player. How much better is Paul George to OG Anunoby? How much better? I mean, he's a better offensive player, but by how much? 7 points? 6 points? Defensively, OG's just as good as Paul George. I would give OG the money and bring in another player that fits with this rotation than give Paul George $212 million for 4 years. He would be the highest paid player on the New York Knicks, even over Jalen Brunson, who's taking less. Why? Because he wants to bring in more players. He wants more players to come and play in New York with him so they can get over the hump. Right now, if you're a Knicks fan, you cannot be excited about this. I'm sorry. Even if they land Paul George and everybody's jumping for joy like we won something, as we all know the Knicks like to do. I'm a Knicks fan. They like to jump when they win a series against the 76ers. What did we win? Nothing. To get Paul George, does that really get us over the top in the East? I don't care what Stephen A. Smith says on this. And he said that he thinks that Paul George can get them right there. They would be the second best team every single year for the next 4 years if they land Paul George. But that doesn't make them the best. You want the best players to come with your best player. Now, who's out there? There's nobody out there this year. I mean, Giannis, if Damian Lillard or Dame Dime, whatever, Dame Dash, whatever the hell he calls himself. Dame Time decides to go to Miami or wherever he decides to go because he is opting out of his contract. If he decides to leave there, that would make sense. Bringing in Giannis.
Right.
I would do whatever I can to give Giannis the money that he's making right now with Milwaukee, which is close to $212 million. I would do that. Giannis and Jalen Brunson, that would be a perfect fit. You need a big man that can dominate in the paint and can do things in the playoffs that other guys have not done for the Knicks. And even Jalen Brunson, when he was losing track offensively, they need another guy that's going to take over those games. They don't have that. You bring in Giannis. Giannis is different. Now, I don't know if Giannis is available or if he's even interested in going to the Knicks, even if he does become available. But Paul George, that to me is not a selling point. Jimmy Butler, I mean, that would make sense. I would take Jimmy Buckets. I would take him because you're not going to overpay for him. You're not going to have to pay him $212 million. And Jimmy knows how to play in the playoffs, and he's usually healthy. Not this year, but he's usually healthy for the playoffs, and he plays well.
And he's used to Tom Thibodeau already.
And he plays the defense that Paul George gives you, and OG Anunoby. And honestly, if you bring in Jimmy Buckets, you might be able to re-sign OG Anunoby. You might make sense. OG might take less money. You can have Jimmy Buckets and OG for Paul George.
Yeah, the Knicks, if they're going to do any big swing, should not be for two things. One, another wing player, because they have a lot of wing depth already, and they should try to keep OG Anunoby as much as possible. We'll talk about it, the defensive value that he had later, the transition defense, stuff like that. It was really missed when he got hurt in that Indiana series. And Paul George, for double the price of what OG Anunoby, like you said, probably what Jimmy Butler will get, that is not going to be worth it for, like, I know Fish was saying that he was healthy this year, which is fine, but he hasn't been healthy throughout his career. And that kind of thing at 35 years old is going to deteriorate on a guy. Now, Jimmy Butler's also been injury prone, but most of his injuries are more nagging injuries. It's not as much, he has these drastic, like, long stints of injuries. And that's why I didn't want Paul George last year either. I was worried about the same kind of thing. And the Knicks needed more of that 3-point shooting, that type of game at that time, but they don't need it now. Like, the Knicks, they need to go after more of a power forward type. So I guess you could dangle Julius Randle in trades for that, but not for Paul George. That doesn't make sense to me at all. For the Warriors, I guess they're trying a last-ditch effort type thing because, like you said, the team's getting old. But again, is it the best move for them rather than just keeping Klay Thompson and maybe getting better combined value that way?
And Paul George is declining. Yeah. If you look at his numbers, they're declining. What did he play last year? 74 games.
Yeah.
He averaged 22.6 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game. Those are declining numbers because when he was first there with the Clippers, he was averaging about 26, 27 points a game. He's not doing that anymore. That's 5 points less.
Right.
That's a significant amount. So if you sit here right now and you're a Knicks fan, how could you be excited for Paul George? I'm telling you, I would not want it. Let him go to the Warriors. Let him go and die over there with the Warriors because that's a dying organization right now. They're not winning anything. Paul George goes over there. They brought Chris Paul. They were trying to make something stick. Bringing Chris Paul over there. Oh, he was a former superstar player. He's one of the greatest point guards to ever play. It didn't work. He couldn't stay healthy. Paul George is just like Chris Paul. Why would you do that if you're the New York Knicks? They're doing the right thing. Why would you trade away all those picks too?
Yeah.
You have Milwaukee's pick next year. That is, as long as it's not a top 4 pick, they own it. They own that pick. That means if Milwaukee is no good next year and they're in the lottery, and they fall at 5th or 6th, and the Knicks are a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they fall short, they get Milwaukee's pick. So they'll be drafting at 5, and they're one of the better young teams in the NBA.
Yeah, and we also see these teams undo good young teams and build it up and then just tear it down and bring in these veterans, and it doesn't work. We joke about it all the time with the Nets being the most extreme example, but we've seen it now with the Phoenix Suns. We've seen it now with the LA Clippers. They're a perfect example of that. They built before they got Kawhi Leonard, they were building up a lot of good young talent. They were a playoff team when nobody expected them to be, and they traded a lot of those guys away. And also the same argument that can be made with James Harden and Paul George too. Like, Paul George has played on a lot of talented rosters and really hasn't grown his game. Like, why would any team want that kind of thing if you're trying to build up good young talent? And the Knicks are doing that very well. The Warriors are trying, and they've had some issues with it, but why would any team try to do that? Like, you have enough veteran guys already that could help those young guys out, like Steph Curry. They don't need that kind of thing like Paul George. Like, Paul George fits more for a team like Philadelphia that needs a wing shooting depth. Like, if they want Embiid to be able to do better in the playoffs, maybe somebody like him could help. But like for the Knicks, no.
I'm not going to sell that. If I'm a Knicks fan, If I was running the organization, if I was Leon Rose, I am not going to sell to the Knicks fans, hey, this is the missing piece. This is going to get us over the hump. We're going to win a championship. They're not winning a championship with Paul George. They wouldn't win it with Chris Paul. They wouldn't win anybody with the name Paul, okay? It's not going to happen. Those are the facts, all right? I think the Knicks need to look in a bigger spot. They have to look for a star player, maybe prying a guy like Karl Anthony Towns away from the Timberwolves. That would make sense. Rudy Gobert, if he becomes available, if they want to keep Karl Anthony Towns, maybe draw on him. Bringing in guys that you know would work very, very good in a pick and roll. A guy that would understand that he's the second guy, not the number one guy, the second guy. You're bringing in guys like Paul George, who wants that big-time money. He still thinks he's the best player on that team. He's going to hog the ball. He's going to take the lanes away from Jalen Brunson. And you know, Jalen Brunson's not the kind of guy that's just going to be back and forth fighting. He's not an argumental type of guy. He's a guy that's going to go out there and play his game and let the cards fall the way they do. I don't like this. If I'm a Knicks fan, I'm not happy about this. I would not sell that to the Knicks fans if I was an organization. I was owning this organization. I was running this organization for the better.
Keith says OG better than Paul George. Jimmy Butler is never going to the Knicks. He thinks they're definitely signing OG because Leon Rose's son is one of his agents.
Yes, that's true, but that doesn't mean that he's staying with them. It depends on the money. He'll go wherever the money is good. Now, there was conversations when they made the trade that OG is willing to take less to stay with the Knicks, so the Knicks could bring in more talent around them. But there's nothing, we don't know that to be true yet until he signs that contract. Nothing tells me that a player is going to take less. Nobody takes less. And you don't expect a player to take less. You don't. So there's a lot of questions on where both these organizations are going with the Lakers and the Knicks, because the Knicks are right there. They have the window. The window is open. The window is closed for the Lakers. It's closed. Yeah. I don't think they're winning. And anybody that thinks that they are, it's crazy. Unless something crazy happens and Ja Morant becomes available and Ja goes over there to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, that would be a different story. But I can't see the Grizzlies just letting Ja Morant go. No. So they're going to have to give up a stock of players and a stock of draft stock, and they don't have it. So,
and he's on too much of a low right now. You're not going to get the value that you want. He got hurt last year and then got suspended for 25 games. Like, the Grizzlies are not going to do it if they're still not a great team. And maybe he has a good year this year, Ja Morant. Maybe they consider it so they don't have to give him that big money that he's going to want. But no, they're not getting it right now.
Why don't we go to a quick break? When we come back, we will get into the Kenny Atkinson. Yes, Kenny Atkinson. A drama, and it's not a drama anymore. He has a job, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to the Cavaliers. It's been a drama since he left the Nets. He's won a couple of championships with the Golden State Warriors, and now, ladies and gentlemen, he's on his way to the Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell will sign the extension. This team's going to be a completely different team next year, and it's not good for the Eastern Conference or the Knicks. When we come back, we'll get into that. But first, Tommy Scoops with our Sports Minute.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
It is almost the top of the hour, 7:45 p.m. right now. I am Tommy Scoops, and this is the Loudmouth Sports Minute. Jumping straight into it, over in the NFL, the 49ers have stalled on contract talks with wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. After the two sides recently met to discuss a new deal, both sides are now at a standstill, frustrating the fifth-year wide receiver Ayuk. The Cowboys are looking to bring in former UFL players. Dallas announced private workout with 3 free agent defensive ends in Jonathan Garvins, Wyatt Ray, and Derek Roberson, as well as free agent fullback John Lovett. Lastly, over in the NBA, ex-Thunder guard Josh Giddey said he's excited about his new role on the Bulls. After being dealt last week to the Chicago 4 guard Alex Caruso, Giddey said he is looking forward to unlock his new potential and get to winning in Chicago. Now it's going to be time for Scoops and Scores, where I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the scores going on right now. Over in the MLB, the Mets currently have a 1-0 lead over the Yankees at the top of the second. Right now, at the bottom of the fourth, Cleveland has an 8-6 lead over Baltimore. Right now, Philly and Detroit are both with nothing on the board at the bottom of the fifth. Right now, Tampa Bay has a 2-0 lead over Seattle at the bottom of the fourth. The top of the third, Pittsburgh has a 3-0 lead over Cincinnati, as Boston has a 2-0 lead over Toronto at the end of the second inning. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. I'm kicking you back to the boys for the continuation of the Sports Loudmouth.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Willie Whoppers, Speedy! Willie Whoppers! I want you to slide it right in. No, I won't. You sound like a crack. I'm not licking anyone. I don't drink a lot of milk. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Oh, man, it is hot, man. This humidity is just killing me. And then yesterday it was windy. I was DJing. It was great. I was even last night. I was out and about. And I was enjoying the wind. I was right there on the water. And then all of a sudden today, it looked like it was going to be a nice windy morning, and then it got really, really hot. It was like 93 degrees today. It was just, I hate the summer. When is football season going to start? When is the fall going to start? We got another 2.5, 3 months of this. I'm going to die. Anyways, that's my take on that. Woj reports that the Cavaliers have hired Kenny Atkinson as their next head coach. Atkinson had a 118 and 190 record in 4 seasons with the Nets, including playoff appearances in 2018. Atkinson coached Karis LeVert, Jared Allen with the Nets in 2016 to 2019. Atkinson has been an assistant coach the last 3 seasons with the Warriors, including on their championship team in 2022. GM Kobe Altman says that they are likely to keep Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro now because of Atkinson's prowess with young players. The Cavaliers have won 99 games in the last 2 years, third most in the Eastern Conference, only to the Celtics and the Bucks. I love this move. This is a guy that I think was waiting for the Knicks job to open up. It was never going to. Now that you see Tom Thibodeau have the season that he's had over the last year, Tom is going to get his extension. He is going to be extended. And I think Kenny Atkinson didn't want to wait anymore. And the Cavaliers job is a special job. I think this is a good job for him. He's got players there. He's coached Karis LeVert. He knows what Karis LeVert can do. He knows what Jared Allen can do. And now you add a Donovan Mitchell. And now you have Garland. Darius Garland, is he going to leave now? I don't know if he does. I think Kenny Atkinson, especially at the guard play, can help him develop his game. I think Darius Garland will be a better player now that Kenny Atkinson is there. He helped Jeremy Lin. He's helped Steph Curry. Steph Curry came out and said that he's been a better player in the last 3 years because of Kenny Atkinson, because he sees the game completely different. He's helped the guard plays everywhere he's gone in his whole career as an assistant and as a head coach. This is a guy that should have never lost his job with the Nets. Should have never lost the job. Thank you to Kyrie Irving, and maybe he should thank Kyrie Irving. because he's positioned and he's in a better situation now with the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers were one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. They could be the best team in the Eastern Conference this coming year. And one of the reasons why, when you have a coach this good that knows the X's and O's, he sees the game, and he's from Long Island. A lot of people know who he is. They understand how he can change the game by the way he sees the game for what it is. He is one of those guys that can change it. When you look at Greg Popovich, you look at guys like Jeff Van Gundy over the years, the Pat Rileys, all those guys, they saw the game differently. And if you look at Tom Thibodeau, you look at all these guys, and by the way, Kenny Atkinson, who worked under Jeff Van Gundy, worked under Tom Thibodeau. He's one of those guys. He can change everything for the Cavaliers and get them over the hump. Now, I'm not saying the Cavaliers haven't had good coaches. They've had good, decent coaches over the years, but not coaches that can really figure out where their strengths are and find out how they can fix the weaknesses. This guy can do that. This guy has proven that with a team, a no-name team. The Nets were not a good team. They weren't. They had no talent. And by the way, who do you think changed everything for Spencer Dinwiddie? You know it. Kenny Atkinson. Spencer Dinwiddie is one of the best bench players, one of the best point guards off the bench in the NBA. And he was a starter over there for what, a year, 2 years with the Nets because of Kenny Atkinson. He changed everything. Remember, Spencer Dinwiddie was a journeyman before he went to the Nets. And the Nets brought him back after Kenny Atkinson, after they traded him. He has done a lot to help out the guard play in the NBA. And if you look at the transition of the game and how the game has completely responded to the way he teaches the game, look at Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin, Carmelo Anthony didn't like him. Okay? He didn't like him because he was, for a little bit of time, for about 22 games, he was the star of the Knicks. And one of the reasons why he was the star of the Knicks is because he found his three-point shot. He found a shot on the perimeter. And who do you think helped him discover that? Who do you think helped him discover how to play the game which fits the NBA style of game? It was Kenny Atkinson. And this is a guy that has, I don't know how anybody passed up on this guy for all these years. Yeah. Now, he did get an offer from the Charlotte Hornets. He didn't want to go to Charlotte. Okay, he did not have any interest in going to coach LaMelo Ball. Okay, he didn't. He didn't want to go coach over there. He didn't want to coach for Michael Jordan. But that was before Michael Jordan decided to sell his stock and sell his team. He wanted to go to a team that he knew he had a chance to win. And this is a team that fits every mold. This is a team that can win right now. They had another superstar to go and play with Donovan Mitchell. Forget it. They're going to win. They can win the East. The Celtics are a good team. They're very well built. Brad Stevens is a smart guy. They have a very good culture over there. And they brought in Porzingis, which they extended. Porzingis is not going to stay healthy for a whole season. They went on a run this year. Congratulations to them. I do not believe the Celtics are going to run it back next year. I think there are 2 or maybe even 3 teams that are going to be better next year. Indiana's going to be better next year, because I think they can add another player to play with Halliburton. The Knicks are going to be better next year, and the Cavaliers.
Orlando, too, I think.
Orlando, nobody wants to play over there.
Well,
nobody wants to
true,
play.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's going to be the same Orlando team. And by the way, the Mets are up 3-0 against the Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees legend Harrison Bader with a homer.
There you go. And I knew this was going to happen, by the way, with the Yankees and the Mets. The Yankees are probably going to get swept. I could see it happening. But with the Cavaliers, and you sit here, and with the Kenny Atkinson thing, it's a shame that this guy has never gotten an offer for any of these top teams that had availability for the coaching job. Why aren't the Lakers be interested in somebody like him? I mean, he's a better choice than JJ Redick. I mean, JJ Redick has no background in coaching. And by the way, the only reason why they brought J.J. Redick in is because he's going to be a puppet to LeBron James.
Maybe LeBron didn't want to bring him in because Kenny Atkinson and Kyrie Irving had a bad relationship. So if you mess with my friend, I'm going to not like you and not want to bring you in as my coach.
I mean, anybody that's ever been coached by Kenny Atkinson besides Kyrie Irving has spoken very highly of this guy. This is a guy that knows his game, and he knows his game just as good as anybody does. So you sit here and you're wondering if you're a Cavalier fan, what they're getting. I'm going to tell you what they're getting. They're getting a top-end coach that'll probably be coach of the year next year. That is going to, they won, 90-something games this year? What was it, 99?
99 in 2 years.
90?
So they won 48. I think they're right behind
I'm
the
sorry.
Knicks. Yeah.
So how many games did they win this year?
So I believe it was 48, and it was 50.
All right, so they won 48 games. They're going to win 55 games, 56 games this year with Kenny Atkinson. They could maybe even win 60 and win the East.
Yeah.
That's how good they are. And this could get them over the hump against the Knicks. This can get them over the hump against the Celtics or any other teams they had problems with over the last couple of years. It wasn't because of talent on why the Cavaliers couldn't beat any of those teams. It was because of coaching. And they're one of those teams that just needed a coach that understands the X's and the O's. And I'm telling you right now, this guy is as good as anybody in the league. I love the hire. Congratulations to Kenny Atkinson. I'm looking forward to seeing him coach a Cavalier team. And by the way, we were invited to come and watch the Cavaliers this coming year. So it'll be fun. A Long Island guy, and maybe get a chance to sit down and learn a little bit about the X's and O's with Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, and he's a perfect X's and O's guy because he's a guy that really did well schematically with so many young players. And the Cavaliers are relying on a lot of those young players to take that next leap. Evan Mobley's a perfect example of that. He's an excellent defender, but offensively, he hasn't really taken that big leap that you expected him to see after he had that nice year in year two. He was a rookie of the year runner-up, then he had a better year in year two, but this year was supposed to be the year of, okay, maybe he's an all-star type player. Isaac Okoro is that same kind of thing. He was a very raw prospect. He was drafted 5th overall in the same draft the Knicks drafted Obi Toppin, and he was a very raw prospect, but had a lot of upside. He drafted at just 19 years old. And you wonder it because the Nets didn't have anyone with that high upside potential. They were drafting a lot of second round and undrafted type guys and making it work. And like you said, Spencer Dinwiddie, a journeyman forever. And Jeremy Lin, like he bounced around so many different teams since he left.
You know what's so funny? I'm reading Keith. He says 60, no way. Okay. Let's just go into Joe Mazzulla. Okay. Joe Mazzulla, who really doesn't have any coaching background at all. He takes over the Celtics and they win how many games? 64 games?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me, and that how many wins did the Celtics have the year before that?
55, I believe.
55. They jumped almost 8-9 wins from the year before. You're going to tell me with 48, 49 wins that they had this year, they're not going to jump about 10, maybe even 11 games this coming year? Absolutely can. Keith, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah.
And you can say whatever you want. You can argue all you want. You want to kiss Jeff's ass? Go kiss his ass. You can do whatever the hell you want. I'm not kissing Jeff's ass. Jeff is always wrong. And I don't believe whatever comes out of Jeff's mouth is stupidity. So I could care less what he says. But if you're going to tell me that Joe Mazzulla knows a little bit more about basketball than Kenny Atkinson, that's a joke. You have the team. You have the talent. You have the size over there that can help you get over the hump in the Eastern Conference. And he could be that much better over there as a coach with the talent he has now. That talent should have won 55, 56 games this year. They're that good. They're good. Donovan Mitchell is one of the best offensive players in the league. Top 6, top 5 player right now offensively in all of basketball. So you're going to tell me that you have that kind of player on your team, and if you have a healthy Darius Garland and Jared Allen and all the talent that they have coming off the bench, they can't win 60 games when they won 48 games with how many injuries this year? Darius Garland, Jared Allen being injured a significant amount of time, and coaching does change everything when you have that type of team. So yeah, I do think they're going to win 58, 59, maybe even 60 games. So you say no? Well, guess what? When I'm right about this, Keith, you could stick it to you just as much as I could tell your buddy over there, your butt buddy, Jeff, to stick it to himself too.
Yeah, and yeah, you also said, Keith, that the Celtics have more talent. Yeah, they do right now. That doesn't mean that Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro, if they can't get to that next level of what they were drafted as, the Cavs build up another max contract or something like that, another volume score, that they couldn't be right there on that same level. The Cavs, the last 2 years, have been one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They have good backcourt depth. They have good rebounding, and they showed that in the playoffs.
How many extra wins did the Knicks have this past year with the talent that they have around them?
like
how many? Serious? How many wins did they have the year before? 40 something, right? 45,
47, I believe, and then they have 50 this year.
Okay, and Tom Thibodeau's been there for how many years?
5.
Okay, and you're going to tell me a guy that's not going to light a spark under Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland for whatever it's worth over there? Absolutely will. You're wrong, Keith. And I don't care what you say. You're wrong.
And
they
also have familiarity with 2 players, Karis LeVert and Jared Allen. Karis LeVert last year was hurt a lot, so he didn't really have the season that he did in previous years. But he got to that next level with the Nets as a guy that got a lot of attention. Now he's a bench option. He's a shooter off the bench. And they, with a lot better talent around him. You don't think Kenny Atkinson can get him to that next level? Jared Allen, not really much of an offensive player, but maybe Kenny Atkinson can help him elevate that as well. And if they stay healthy, those 2 players, Kenny Atkinson is the best guy to know what to do with them. So they definitely could get to at least 55 wins if they're healthy.
I think it definitely gets them over the hump. I think it's going to change their worth as an organization. It's going to bring in players that want to go and play over there with Donovan Mitchell now, because Kenny Atkinson is a really good coach. And he's going to help these guys develop. Darius Garland is going to be a different player. You watch. His game is going to change. He's going to get more healthier. I bet you he stays healthy the predominant season, the full season next year. I think he won't play 82 games, but he'll play 62, 65 games next year because Kenny Atkinson's going to get him in tip-top shape. He did that with every single point guard he's ever worked with. Even Steph Curry. Go look at Steph Curry as he aged. His numbers as health has been better because Kenny Atkinson's been there. Yep. Just look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. And I think if you have a healthy Darius Garland, you have a healthy Donovan Mitchell, and it keeps these guys together with the team they have around them. And they have money too, by the way. Right. They have money. They could bring in another star to come and play with them. So, I mean, this team is an up-and-coming team as it is. They could be even better. And I don't want to hear, well, if the Cavaliers land another player to come and play with Donovan Mitchell this offseason and Darius Garland and the players, I don't want to hear, well, that'll get them 60 games. I'm telling you right now, they're winning close to 60 games this coming year. Mark my words. You're going to see between 58 and 60 games this year with this team. And I don't want to hear, well, I didn't know they were going to have this guy. I don't know. Well, guess what? You know now. I'm telling you right now. Mark it. Book it. They're going to win between 58 and 60 games this year as long as they stay healthy. And that's all I'm going to say about that. The Athletic's Fred Katz reports that OG Anunoby will decline his player option and will become an unrestricted free agent. OG would have got $19.9 million next season and will look for an average annual value about double that amount. Multiple NBA executives believe he will get something around 4 years and $118 million on his next extension, almost $30 million per year. Previously reported that OG would consider taking less and a pay cut with the Knicks. OG had 2 different injuries last season, including in the playoffs, but the Knicks were 26-6 with OG when healthy in the lineup, and OG had a 14.1 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game last season with the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby will probably re-sign with the Knicks. I do believe that. I think OG will go back to the Knicks. He will get somewhere between 25 and 26 million. He will take probably about $4 to $5 million less to go back to the Knicks. The Knicks right now are looking at the Paul George story, and obviously their hands are dipped into it, but they are going to probably realize that Paul George doesn't make sense. They have a chance to win right now with the team that they have. They need another piece that makes sense that you can put with Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart. I think it makes more sense to bring in a guy that knows this offense, that knows his teammates. And you know who I'm talking about. He's playing for the Nets right now. And it makes a lot of sense why I think that would make a ton of sense, why it would be interesting to see what the Knicks could do in the offseason. I don't think the Nets would look to trade with the Knicks. I don't see that, but it makes a lot of sense. It does. No matter what, he already said he's not extending. And, you know, I forget his name. Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges already came out and said that he is not extending with the Nets. So that tells me that Mikal Bridges is up for a trade. Now, the Nets will not trade him outright to the New York Knicks unless the Knicks trade away all their draft stock. And the Knicks are not going to do that. And Leon Rose will not do that because he's been, gathering these draft picks for these next 2 years. I don't think he's just going to trade them away for no reason. So it's not going to make sense. Now, Mikal Bridges actually has one more year left on his contract, and he becomes, if I'm not mistaken, a restricted free agent the year after. If that happens, he'll be, I think, 28, 29 years old. Now, I think the Knicks window has opened, so I don't think they are going to wait for Mikal Bridges. But if they bring in a third team or they bring in a fourth team in a trade, which usually never works, maybe that could happen. I think the Knicks need to look, and Leon Rose, he needs to reach. He's done that over the last couple of years. It's worked. Now, where does he reach? Is Mitchell Robinson the guy that's going to be your star middleman moving forward? He gave him the 4-year, $60 million extension. It was a good contract. I think they look to move Mitchell Robinson in the offseason. I think they need to bring in another big guy. Now, do they draft a big guy in the 20s? Maybe they do to fill in. But again, even if they do that, they got to get him into basketball shape. Being drafted in the 20s doesn't mean that he's going to be ready to start the season as a starting center. So the Knicks need to look somewhere else if they decide to trade a guy like Mitchell Robinson. So, and then Hartenstein's another guy. Are you going to overpay for a guy like Hartenstein? Now, I like Hartenstein. He's a good player. And he just got himself a lot of money having the season that he had. Are the Knicks going to reach on him? They cannot reach. They cannot continue doing that. Leon Rose, over the last couple of years, has not reached. He's not reached. And that's why this organization is moving in the right situation. Even giving Jalen Brunson that offering that extension, that recent extension, that's worth about $160. That's a steal because right now, Jalen Brunson next year is probably going to be an all-NBA player. I think he was an all-NBA player this year.
Yeah, he's going to be eligible for 50 if he would have waited.
If he waited next year, he would have made $50 million. He took less to stay with the Knicks. Why? Because he wants to win with the Knicks. So it would make a lot of sense on why the Knicks could sit back and wait and see who becomes available over the next couple of weeks after the draft. The draft is tomorrow. We will get into the draft tomorrow. It's not a big draft. It's not a great draft. But usually when they say it's not a great draft, it's a good draft.
Well,
so
nothing's going to compare with the prospect type with what we had last year with Wemby.
I think that when you look at the New York Knicks and this organization as a whole, they got to be a little bit smarter and they have to jump on the right guy. OG Anunoby is a good guy. I think the Knicks could still sign OG. I think OG wants to be re-signed by the Knicks, but the Knicks need to sit back and they got to see who becomes available in the next week or so, because there could be somebody out there that becomes a name that's going to drop that becomes available. I mean, Josh Giddey, he became available.
Right.
Who would have thought that Josh Giddey was going to be available by OKC? And now, I'm not saying Josh Giddey is a game-changing player, but he could be. He's a youngster, goes to Chicago, maybe playing with a guy like Donovan. He could be a different player. So obviously OKC didn't want him there anymore. Miami could be looking to trade one of their players. Houston could trade one of their players. Maybe Green becomes available in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? Who knows who becomes available? The Knicks cannot jump on these players and say, you know what, I'm going to go after Paul George because he's the best player available. It doesn't work like that. Leon Rose has not been that type of GM or executive over the last couple of years. So he's been one of those smart guys that has done the right thing for this organization, as we've seen over the last couple of years with the contracts that he signed and the players that he's brought in. Donte DiVincenzo was a steal for him. Yeah. He was a steal. He found him. He thought we could be a good fit with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Josh Hart was a steal for him, giving up a first-round draft pick. Look what Josh Hart did throughout this season and even in the playoffs, playing all those minutes. So he's been finding these steals. He needs to find another one. The kid Brown that played for Toronto. Yep. I like him. He was the sixth man for the Nuggets. He's a guy that's going to be available this offseason. He's a two-way player. He's a good defensive player. He fits Tom Thibodeau's the style of game. He would be a great fit. He'd be a great six-man off the bench. He'd be great. You play a guy like Donte DiVincenzo. You can move him and Brown back and forth. That would make sense. And you don't have to overpay for Brown. You can actually bring in OG Anunoby and Brown and let go of Hartenstein. Now, you'll obviously have to play small. And if you lose Mitchell Robinson. And that's why the Knicks, with the 2 first-round draft picks or the first-round draft pick that they have, the first one they have this year, I think in the 20s, I think the Knicks would have to, I think they have 2 of them. They would have to trade down and try to get into the teens and get one of those centers, those European centers that everybody keeps talking about.
Right. They need size in depth portions more than they do in just individual. Because you're right. Hartenstein offensively did put up good numbers. Offensive rebounding wise was fantastic at the playoffs as well. But sometimes his raw defense got exposed in that Pacer series, especially. And Mitchell Robinson, like you said, always gets hurt. So they need that kind of thing in depth portion. That's why this kind of report that we're talking about with Paul George earlier makes no sense for the Knicks, where they can get OG Anunoby back at, like you said, probably $26 million a year, half the amount of what Paul George would make, and still get a good impact player, maybe a third, like a good bench player to help out the depth.
And by the way, they say that Josh says the Knicks have the back-to-back picks. So, so that the Knicks are positioned. I would, if I were the Knicks, wherever those picks are, 24, 25, or 25, 26, wherever it is, I would try to move up in the teens and get one of those European centers that they're saying could fall between 16 and 19.
Right.
So, and if the Knicks could jump that and get one of those guys, then you can look to trade Mitchell Robinson, or you can keep Mitch. You could bring in OG and bring in Brown. You don't need to go and dig deep for a superstar player. I don't think they need that in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics are going to be good next year. We expect them to be. Jason Tatum's going to get a lot of money. Porzingis just he extended. Drew Holiday's extended. They'll probably re-sign White. I mean, this is going to be probably the same Celtic team they were this year. So they're going to be the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. I think Milwaukee's going to be worse this coming year. I think the 76ers are going to be worse this coming year too. They're trying to trade Harris. I don't know if anybody wants Harris.
Oh, good luck. Maybe they'll trade him back to the Nets. Maybe they'll trade him back to the Nets with Ben Simmons. Who knows?
I think that when you look at the position that the Knicks are in going into this draft, it's going to really depend on what they're going to do with these 2 picks, on what they're going to do in free agency after this. I think OG Anunoby will re-sign with the Knicks, but I don't think a guy like Paul George is the answer to the Knicks. I think you look at a Brown, you look at one of those guys that you can strategically strengthen your bench. That's how they're going to get better.
Right. Also, maybe even a trade with like one of those maybe second-tier superstars that are stars, like all-star level type players that you could get more size with in that way. And you're not going to get that kind of availability if you give Paul George $52 million a year. So you get OG at 26, you might be able to make a trade for maybe something like a Kyle Kuzma or something like that. That still could be an impact
Kyle
player.
Kuzma is not going to be traded. Washington already said that they're not trading him. So
they can say that now, but the player can still get disgruntled.
If they can get Kyle Kuzma, that's a perfect fit for the Knicks.
I wanted him last year so bad.
Kyle Kuzma would be the perfect fit for the New York Knicks. He would be great. You could start him. You could get him off the bench. He's the perfect guy. He could play the 3. He could even play the 4 sometimes, undersized at the 4.
I would encourage the Knicks, if they do that, to trade him, to play him at the 4, because I think the Knicks were missing a lot of those concepts in the Pacers series too.
I think it makes a lot of sense. But again, the OG Anunoby thing is a very interesting story. We'll see how the Knicks are going to react to that. I do believe OG will take less to stay with the Knicks, 24 to 25 million. I think that will get the deal done. OG right now is making 19.9 million. He would have made next season. Right. He's going to want about $5 million more. So if the Knicks can get it up there to 25, 24 and a half, I think he'd be very, very happy to re-sign with the New York Knicks. So it's an interesting story. I think everything's going to depend on how the Knicks are going to, what they're going to do in the draft and how it's going to work in the draft for them. So
Josh says in the comments, if they re-sign OG, they have to better be putting an injury clause in his contract, or he'll have Antonio McDyess 2.0.
No, McDyess was worse. McDyess was worse, even when he played for the Nuggets. I think OG is a good option for the Knicks. He's a guy that absolutely could be another Kawhi Leonard. He could, if he could stay healthy. And again, OG could be that piece and maybe bring in like a Brown. I told you guys that. If you bring in that kind of, contributors that could give you that kind of stuff, if OG can't play or he's not healthy and you bring in a guy like Brown, I think it makes a lot of sense why it would work. So to me, you don't go for the home run. Go for the double. Go for the triple, because it's worked for the Knicks. It's worked for Leon Rose. It hasn't worked when you went for the home run. Carmelo Anthony didn't work. Amari Stoudemire didn't work. If you go back and forth, Allen Houston, it didn't work. Larry Johnson, it didn't work. Even Chris Childs, who I love, and I love him as a person. We've had him on a show a couple of times. It doesn't work. Buying players like that, it doesn't work. And the Knicks have been very strategic on the way they've brought in players over the last couple of years. And Leon Rose has been a genius. He's been great for the New York Knicks. And the contracts that he has offered to these players have worked out for the cap and what the Knicks could do this offseason that can make the team better. So it's going to be interesting. Vladimir Guerrero, MLB insider Mike Rodriguez says that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. told him that he would be interested in being traded to the New York Yankees. Vladimir Jr. back in 2022 said he would never sign with the New York Yankees, not even if he was dead. He added that his dad was convincing him that being traded there would be better and good business and for his legacy. Vlad is making $19.9 million this season and then has one more year left of arbitration next season. Both Vlad and Bo Bichette have been in trade rumors since last offseason. The Blue Jays were unable to sign Shohei Ohtani. Vlad has a 286 batting average, 10 home runs, and 35 RBIs this season. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Vladimir Guerrero in this lineup with Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. First of all, what are you going to trade for him? What are you going to give up for him? You're going to have to give up top prospects. Do you trade Dominguez for Vlad Jr.? Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to trade somebody of that magnitude? They have some good prospects. Do you trade Jones? I mean, you're going to have to trade Jones. You're going to have to trade maybe Gleyber Torres and Dominguez to get that deal done. Maybe another prospect. Vladimir Jr., and will you be able to re-sign Vladimir Jr. after giving up all those top-tier young players? I don't know. And if the if the Yankees are trying to win a championship, and I said the Knicks because we're just talking about the Knicks, but if the Yankees win a championship this year, is that going to be the piece that's going to get them over the hump? I don't know. I don't know. I think you're reaching if you go after a guy like Vlad Jr. And you don't need power in your lineup. Your power is good. Okay. Over the last week, it hasn't been, and everybody keeps thinking that the Yankees are going to fall apart. They haven't played well. And I said this, the Yankees are going to go on a 10-game skid. They're going to look really, really bad, and they'll figure things out. They're too good of a team to not figure it out. And I don't believe in Jonathan Papelbon and what he said, okay, because he's an idiot, and the guy's never right. But to bring in a guy like Vlad Jr., you're reaching. You're pretty much telling the organization that if you don't make a big move, a big splash like this, you're not going to beat the Baltimore Orioles. You're not going to beat the Dodgers. You're not going to beat the Philadelphia Phillies or the Braves or any one of these good teams because you don't think your lineup is good enough. Your lineup is good enough. This is a good lineup. And where do you put Vlad? You put him in the outfield? There's no room there. You put him at first?
Yeah, you're going to have to probably.
Is he a good first baseman?
He's improved, but he's not like amazing defense.
He's not a good first baseman. That's the problem right now with the Yankees. Their infield, especially defensively, has not been good. And DJ LeMahieu has been a shell of himself. So he can't stay healthy, and when he is in a lineup, he can't hit anymore. The Yankees extended him, what was it, 3 years ago? They gave him an 8-year deal or a 7-year deal.
7-year deal, which at the time we thought was a bargain.
A bargain, but he just can't stay healthy. He's not the same player. Vlad Jr. is a good player. And I understand his father's telling him, we have to look past what they did to me and what they've done to Ken Griffey and the Griffies over the years and other players over the years. They didn't like certain they didn't like certain players or fathers from players, and they've hold a hex on the New York Yankees in the organization. I think that when you look at the Blue Jays, they're looking to move. They're looking, obviously, that this season could be over. Now, I think the Blue Jays are still in, they're still in the run to make the playoffs, but it could go fast after the All-Star break. Their pitching has not been good this year. They're not getting enough power from Vladimir Jr., where he's only had 10 home runs in what, 50-some-odd games?
He started really slow last year, too.
I mean, and again, the Yankees got to look at this. Now, he's better than just a power hitter. This guy can hit for average. He can. And if you do lose Juan Soto in the offseason, he's a good consolation prize. But are you willing to trade away Dominguez, Are you willing to trade away Jones, that could be a future star that you're going to have to see 16, 17 times every season? Are you willing to trade any of those pieces away where you're going to be, if Vladimir Guerrero, it gets a little heavier, he's not a thin guy.
Right.
He's not like his father. And when you have all that muscle and you have all that weight behind you, Mo Vaughn. I'm not saying he's Mo Vaughn, but look at those guys. I'm just saying Kirby Puckett. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Kirby Puckett was Tony Gwynn. Now, I'm not saying these guys weren't great and they're not Hall of Famers. I'm just saying the game's different. The power that these guys have now, the off seasons that these guys put their bodies through, it wasn't like it was in the 90s. It's a different game. So I would worry if I were the Yankees to say, hey, you know what? Let's go after Vlad Jr. If we lose out on Juan Soto, we still have Vlad Jr. and he can fill in the spots. We still have a superstar to play over there in that position. Anyway, if we want to stick him in the outfield, we want to stick him in the infield, we still have a player that can play any of those positions.
Right. And you also look at the upside potential that Vlad Jr. could definitely bring. But the Yankees have to be aware of that when it comes to looking at the price of it. Because you're right, he has been injury prone in his career. And since that year that you were advocating that he should have won MVP in 2021, sometimes his numbers have dipped. Now, I'm not saying drastically. 2022, he still had a good year. Last year, he started slow, then got hot in the second half of the season. The Blue Jays ended up making
Keith, we understand you're saying he's not going to the Yankees. That's what you think, okay? But that's not what the story is coming out. So we're arguing it. That's what sports media is.
Right.
We're going back and forth and saying how this could work or why it shouldn't work. So you could say whatever you want and you can argue whatever you want. It doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah, and also you look at the upside that still could be there for the Yankees, where it could be end up being beneficial. That, like we were saying, he's injury prone and he's been a better defender than he was at the beginning of his career when he was an absolute liability. But it's still been a question mark at first base and also at third base too. Like you said, if LeMahieu and Rizzo continue to decline, it still might be worth it for that value. And obviously the untapped potential. He's he's number one prospect in baseball for a reason. Like he's still raw power wise and ability wise, he's still great. But the Blue Jays are going to try to do everything they can to fleece the Yankees too. And that's why you're saying probably it's going to start with Spencer Jones and still maybe take 3 more prospects.
It's going to take Torres. And let's bring in Fish. It's going to take Torres. It's going to take Jones. It's going to take Dominguez. And maybe more to land a player of that magnitude. It's a lot. You're giving up a lot for a guy that you don't know if you're going to be able to keep in 2 years, who's going to want a $300 to maybe $400 million contract. And if he has a good season with the Yankees this year with the short porch, and then he has a good season next year with 50 home runs, what do you think the Yankees going to have to pay him after that?
All right. By the way, we also have Josh on the phone as well.
All right, put Josh on, and we have Fish.
Okay. Well, first off, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Fish, nice to talk to you for the first time. You brought up the Guerrero thing. First off, when I heard you say where would he go in the lineup? I mean, Gleyber Torres is the cleanup hitter tonight. I think it would be pretty easy to put Vlad Guerrero Jr. in this lineup.
The only reason why he's in the cleanup is because right now Giancarlo Stanton isn't healthy, and right now they're trying to move the lineup around to see what works because they're not hitting right now. That's the only reason
why.
The
thing is, the Yankees are also, when you look at their lineup, and it is a very good lineup. Volpe, Judge, Soto. I didn't say it in the correct order, but the point is they are a very top-heavy hitting lineup. That's what they are. Guerrero Jr. also lengthened the lineup. That's number one. Number two, the only reason why I called in too is because I kept hearing you say Torres has to be in this trade.
Mm-hmm.
Why would Toronto even want anything to do with Gleyber Torres with his contract's up after this year anyway, and he's not even playing well?
Because he's a piece, and right now you don't even know what you're doing right now with your infield. You don't know where you're going with your infield. Are you going to trade Bo Bichette? Are you looking to move players in the offseason? That's why. And Gleyber Torres is still a guy that can hit. He's not having a good season, but maybe under pressure, maybe the pressure that he's dealing with in his final season with the Yankees is riding on him. I don't know. But
I don't think Toronto would have any remote.
Gleyber Torres had what? How many home runs did he have last year?
28, I believe.
28 home runs as a second baseman. He's one of the best home run hitters at his position last year. I'm not saying he's having a good year this year, but who's to say he doesn't have a good second half?
Here's what Toronto would ask for, being in the same division. This is what they would ask for. They would ask for one of Dominguez or Jones. I can tell you that's an easy one. They would probably ask for Chase Hampton, who's the Yankees' best prospect pitcher, because that's what Toronto needs, is starting pitching. And they would probably ask for their outfielder. and that would probably be Pereira, who was another outfielder that the Yankees have brought up every now and then this year. But it would start with Dominguez or Jones, because you have to remember, like Speedy said, they would want to fleece the Yankees because they're in the same division. It's a very simple logic of why they would do this. That's why Gleyber Torres would have no interest of value to the Toronto Blue Jays. They want prospects, they want to build this thing, and they want to build it from the ground up because they know that with those two, they're not winning with those two, so they would have to do a rebuild. That's why Torres wouldn't do anything for them. And again, he's a free agent after this year. If you're Toronto, why would you even want him when you could just say if you're Toronto,
he's another guy in their
agent next year, then you could
he's
sign him next year.
He's another guy in the lineup, and right now they're still in the playoff run. They're still on. They still could make the playoffs, so they need another player that can go into that lineup and maybe get hot. So Gleyber Torres is a guy. Jones, you're going to start him right away in the major leagues. You don't know what he's going to do. Dominguez can't stay healthy right now.
I mean, I can tell you this: Toronto is 35-43. They're 16 games out of the first place.
Okay,
and then in the wild card spot, they're 8 games out of the wild card.
And Josh,
spot. I don't think playoffs are happening.
Well, you don't think playoffs are going to happen, and then what are we seeing over the years in the second half? Teams get hot. They win, 18 out of 25 games or 18 out of 30 games, and they're in a playoff run. So
yeah, but that's the thing, though. We talk about that, but then it's like, why would you also want Gleyber Torres if you're also going to trade Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
Because they need somebody to fill into that. Because they need somebody to fill in that lineup spot.
Torres is not even close to a fill-in for Vladimir Guerrero.
Nobody's saying that he is, but he's going to start in the major leagues. He's right now in the major leagues. The Yankees are going to probably look to move him. So if you put him, Dominguez, and Jones in it, they're not going to trade Hampton. Hampton's the only pitching prospect they have right now.
Well, that's what Toronto's going to want. They need starting pitching.
The Yankees aren't going to do that. The Yankees aren't going to do that.
Well, then the Yankees aren't going to get Vlad Jr.
All right, so who cares? So that's the conversation. Who's to say that?
I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm just saying that that's what a logical GM, if you're in the same division, that is what they would ask for from a team that you're trading your face of your franchise to a division rival.
And who says the Blue Jays are logical? Okay, who says the Blue Jays are logical?
No, well, listen, nobody says that at all. But I'm just saying, though, if somebody has a brain, then you would think that they would want to ask to rebuild. Obviously, that's what you're going to ask for. Now, it's obviously going to be Dominguez or Jones.
It could be both of them. It could be both of them.
It could be both of them. And if the other thing too is you have to remember too the whole thing with Soto. Not that this means anything or anything like that, but just remember who Juan Soto's best friend on this team is. I'm not so certainly sure Soto would be really, hey, I understand getting Vladdy's a big upgrade for us, but do we really want to trade a good friend of mine? I'm trying to get comfortable in this city and I want to be here long term. Is that really the way the Yankees want to go about this? That's why I just don't think Gleyber Torres would even be a conversation piece in this trade.
So you think Gleyber Torres, because they're buddies and him and Soto are buddies, that's the reason why they're going to keep Gleyber Torres, to keep Soto there?
No, I don't think Gleyber Torres would even be in the conversation for a trade, period.
I disagree. They need somebody to fill in that spot. They need somebody in that lineup that's going to fill. Because even if you get Dominguez or Jones, Dominguez could be out for a significant amount of time, and he might not be.
He's going to be out for the next couple of months, I think they said again.
Okay, all right. So Dominguez, that's not. And if they bring in Jones, Jones is not ready for the majors. So you need somebody to fill in that spot if you bring in Vlad Jr.
But the thing is, how do we know he's not ready for the majors if he hasn't even been up here yet, though? How do we know?
Because the Yankees say it, and the Yankees organization have been pretty right about it.
The Yankees say, everybody says a lot of things. People say all the time that they don't think guys are ready, and then they come up and they thrive. Who the hell knows what they are? You have to see what they are on the field.
So you want to bring in a young guy right now who
I'm not going to do anything. I'm just saying about what they're saying.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I do know the Yankees are not willing to do that right now. If the Yankees were willing, the guy was smashing the ball in spring training. Did the Yankees call him up? No, because the Yankees want to make sure that he's going to be ready. He's going to be ready for the pressure, as they did for Aaron Judge, as they did for Luis Severino, as they did for Gleyber Torres at the age of 21, 22, when they could have brought him up at the age of 18 when they traded him from the Chicago Cubs. Okay, you could go up and down what the Yankees have done. The Yankees have been an organization that they steady themselves, and they make sure that these guys, when they're ready to call them up, they're going to be ready for the big leagues. They're not going to put them in a bad position. The only one they've made mistakes on is Frazier. Well, I don't know what happened to that guy. I mean, that guy is just a head case. And quite, there was 2 or 3 other guys that you could point out that it didn't work out for the Yankees, but the good ones, the good players, the Yankees have made sure that even Bernie Williams. Remember when Bernie Williams got called up?
Well, I mean, look, if the Yankees are very sure about this, how come Ben Rice, who's been doing very well for the Yankees, is not playing and J.D. Davis is playing tonight?
Maybe because they think that Ben Rice, they want to have control of the arbitration and all that other stuff.
He's on the team right now. He's sitting on the bench.
Okay.
JD,
Okay.
Trust me. Let me tell you something. When you have JD Doofus in your lineup hitting whatever it is, fifth
The Mets
or
hit a
something
home
like
run.
that, that's a problem.
The Mets hit a home run.
Second for Vientos.
Oh,
Well, Josh, everyone's hurt, you know?
Maybe being the Vladimir Guerrero trade.
I gotta chime in because this is driving me crazy.
All right, he's
the fact
speaking.
that Gleyber Torres, the fact that Gleyber Torres would keep you from getting Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's also, you know, Dominican and also one of these guys that's going to be tight with Soto in the international playing. So I don't think that makes any sense. He's just met Gleyber a few months ago, so I don't know how tight they are so quickly. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Plus, Vlad Guerrero is one of the more overrated players in baseball. If you look at his stats, he hasn't had above an 818 OPS in 3 years. He is not a power hitter. He's an average hitter. He has an OPS plus this year, and I'll put the stats up right now, of 129, which is good, but not great.
All right,
not
well,
someone that
hang
you're
up
going
and
to
listen.
trade for.
Oh, well, thank you. It's so nice of you to talk to
I'm
us
just
all.
saying because
Thank you
you're
so much. Have a
speaking.
good and pleasant
You're
night,
speaking
everybody.
so
You're
loud.
interrupting the show,
You're
Josh.
speaking so loud.
Well, you know what? If that's how we're going to talk to calls, you all have a good and pleasant evening. Thank you so much.
What the hell is wrong with him today?
I don't know. Callers are supposed to listen, and then
Yeah, well, that Josh doesn't
instead of
listen.
just hear themselves talk.
Josh likes to speak. Josh likes.
It doesn't appear to. He had some pretty ridiculous ideas.
Mhm.
But I'll say this. Vlad Guerrero hasn't been a great player in 3 years. He's a very good player. He's way better than whatever the Yankees have. Everyone's hurt right now. That's why you got bums like J.D. Davis, who got screwed out of a contract we talked about by the Giants earlier this offseason, the arbitration. See how that treated him, how they screwed him over. And now he's just hanging on to teams. Well, you know, maybe there was something to it, but I digress. Look, the Yankees need first base help. They're going to get someone. I don't think it's Vlad Guerrero. Look, this conversation is going to be, we'll give you Gleyber Torres and a bag of balls and maybe one of our prospects. You're not getting any of the good ones. Cashman thinks too highly of the system. You always know how Cashman likes to trade negotiate, guys. He's going to just say, like, everyone on the Yankees prospects, one of the best players of all time. You know, whether or not Jones is or not is a whole nother story. They're not going to go for this guy. But Speedy, you tell me, why would the Yankees spend the farm for another guy who's redundant with what they already have in power and is an average defensive player? How is that the guy they need?
I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying that's the story right now. They've brought up Vladimir Guerrero. And again, the only reason why they're bringing up Vladimir Guerrero is because probably the Yankees think that they might not be able to re-sign Soto. He's just another bat that you could put in the lineup right behind Judge. That's the only reason why I would think that the Yankees would be interested in this, is that if Soto decides, hey, you know what, I don't want to be a Yankee, you know what I mean? We still have a piece that we can put over there right behind him that's going to give us 35, 40 home runs a season. That's going to protect Aaron Judge's bat in the lineup. The problem with the Yankees, and I'm going to say it again, and you're seeing it right now, and the Yankees are not, over the last week, they have not pitched well. I would say the last 10 games, they haven't pitched well, and they're not getting enough in the middle of their lineup. They're not getting enough. And Soto has not been what he was in the first 30 games, 40 games. And they're depending too much on Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge teams are starting to pitch around him to get to Soto, and Soto's not hitting. So that's the problem right now with the Yankees lineup. The problem right now with the Yankees is you're looking at the players, and like you said, Vladimir Guerrero, you're looking at all these big names that the Yankees could add, and it makes sense to put them in the lineup and see what's going to stick. It just doesn't work. The Yankees don't hit under pressure. The Yankees don't hit when the bases were loaded in the first inning with the Mets, and the game could have been out of hand. And what did the Yankees do? They went 1-2-3 after that. They couldn't get a run, and now they're down 4-0. They're the best pitcher on. He's not the best pitcher right now on that roster, but one of the best pitchers in baseball on the mound, and they're getting killed by the Mets. So that's being in. And I listened to BT today. I listened to what he said, and BT says that he's worried about this Yankee team, and Jonathan Papelbon said it too, and a lot of other people have said that the Yankees are gonna hit the highway. Is this another home run? This is another home run. Another home run. I think they need to take Garrett Cole off the mound. Nimmo just hit a home run.
He hasn't struck anybody out. He's got 4 walks. He's given
Is
up
his
4
shoulder
home
and now
runs.
is his shoulder really not healthy? That's the thing. Is he out there just trying to prove his point because he wants to get an extension at the end of the season? Because he can actually opt out of his contract in the offseason for a team to give him a bigger contract. So right there, that's a home run, Nimmo. This game's over. I mean, I can't see the Yankees coming back in this game. And Jeff, shut up, man. You're an idiot. To me, you're one of the dumbest callers when you call the show, and you're one of the dumbest people. You have nothing good to say. Don't say it. You're an idiot. You're a fool. Everything that comes out of your mouth is foolish. You're a Knicks fan. You're a Ranger fan. You're this, you're that. You're an idiot. That's what you are. You're a guy that talks a lot of crap, that speaks a lot of garbage. And when you have something that you want it to stick, you let it stick. And when you say something wrong and you try to beat around the bush and try to say that you never said it when you did. So we all know how you work, Jeff. So keep talking, keep speaking out of the garbage that comes out of your mouth. Anyways. Yeah, you're a Jet fan, all right. You're a fat fan. You need to keep eating, piece of you know what. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, Fish.
Well, look, I would say it's over normally, but we've witnessed this Mets bullpen be one of the worst you've ever seen in baseball. So, especially with your closer being suspended for 10 games, which we'll get to later. I really don't believe the Yankees are out of any game, even with them struggling right now. They were bound to struggle. They were so hot for so long. They lost Stanton. They're losing other guys. The pitching had to hit some bumps in the road. Heel got roughed up recently for the first time, and Cole's just coming back. Look, it's a long season. They got to get into the All-Star break, try to heal up, figure out what they're going to do with Torres and LeMahieu, because the two of them aren't cutting it, and Rizzo's not cutting it. That's the weakness right now. Fix it, maybe get another arm in the pen, and go on. Let's go see what happens in October.
We'll see what happens. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will have our only guest of the night, except the Let's Parlay group, because they are guests. We will be talking to former Bengals and Commanders tight end Rick Doc Walker. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
That is right. Tommy Scoop taking over for the Loudmouth Sports Minute, and jumping straight into it over in the NBA. The Knicks and Kings have both offered trade deals for guard Alex Caruso before he was traded to the Thunder. The Knicks trade details are not known at the moment, but the Kings were reportedly very close with the 13th overall draft pick offered, but both teams said they felt snubbed against the Thunder's trade package. Over in the MLB, the Mariners are announcing how starting pitcher Brian Wu will be placed on injured list with a strained hamstring. After leaving yesterday's game in the 4th inning against the Rays, Wu will be reevaluated in 15 days. Lastly, over in the NFL, Jacksonville approves a $1.4 billion Jacksonville Jaguar stadium deal. The deal was approved after being voted on by 19 Jacksonville council members, where the NFL owners are set to rubber stamp the deal in October, with construction to begin as soon as after the 2025 season. Now it's time for Scoops to Scores. Where currently, right now, the Mets have a 6-0 lead over the Yankees at the end of the 4th. Right now, at the bottom of the 7th, Cleveland has an 8-6 lead over Baltimore. Detroit with a 4-0 lead over Philadelphia at the end of the 8th. Tampa Bay has a 6-2 lead over Seattle at the end of the 6th. Pittsburgh with an 8-0 lead over Cincinnati at the middle of the 5th. And right now, Toronto has a 9-2 lead over Boston right now at the top of the 5th. Colorado and Houston, with Houston having a 5-0 lead over Colorado. And Chicago White Sox with a 3-1 lead over the Dodgers. Kansas City has a 1-0 lead over Miami, and Texas has a 1-0 lead over Milwaukee. That's currently all the time I have for you guys right now. I'm going to kick it back to the boys for their next guest on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Willie Whopper speed! Willie Whoppers! Wants to go burn a bush in a crab. Men in Black memory, we swear. Unfortunately. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Okay, before we get our guest in, I know Josh is being, he thinks that we were being rude and everything like that. Josh, relax. It's sports radio. We can go back and forth. If it's okay with you, I will apologize how we approached the conversation with you. Okay. If it bothers you so much, I'm sorry the way we attacked you on the show. I mean, I don't know why we have to apologize. I mean, this is sports radio. That's just my opinion. But hey, you know what? I'm sorry. Relax. Call up after a guest. But anyways, he's smiling. And I remember Doc, the last time we had him on the show. He is fantastic. We are now talking to Bengals and Commanders tight end, Rick Doc Walker. Rick, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. I'm good, man. Good to be with you guys.
Well, it's good to see you, man. You look healthy. The last time I remember, last conversation we had was, if I'm not mistaken, it was almost a year ago.
It was at the end of the football season last year, about 6 months ago.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
really? It was that? I thought it was longer than that, but that just.
No,
But it's so interesting. Was it around the Super Bowl?
It was like the end of the regular season.
Okay.
Yeah, in the regular season. Yeah.
All right. So, obviously, there's a lot that has gone on over the last couple of months. The draft and your Commanders. Yes, your Commanders have a new quarterback. Obviously, everybody knew that they were either going to go after a quarterback or they were going to trade out of that pick. There were some conversations that they would have, but instead they went after Daniels. Tell us a little bit about what you know about Daniels and what he could do for the Washington Commanders team for the better.
Well, he's going to make you better just because he's a phenomenal athlete. What I like about him is that he's a disciplined young man, really far more mature than his age. Any guy that gets to the building in the dark and treats it like Brady, for example, first guy in the building, has a key card, comes in. I played with Joe Theismann. Joe Theismann Gibbs was there. He slept there 3 days a week. Joey was there 6 a.m. And it's really important. These guys, they make the most, they get the most, they put in the most. It's just the way it is. And he's comfortable with that. Started at Arizona State, ended up at LSU, made the transition, was coached hard, can deal with that. So I just like his demeanor. We did a camp out at one of the schools in D.C., and I watching him around young kids. He's a very centered young man. We see a lot of kids come out and they're overwhelmed by being a Heisman Trophy winner. This guy's settled. He's mature. He's not overwhelmed by his celebrity. He is a guy that is embraced by his teammates. We've all played with guys that are jerks. He's not a jerk. The guy is settled within himself. He's raised the right way. Now, and that's important. And then he understands that he's dependent upon those big guys up front, by those guys around him. And that's important. So now the rest of it is about protection. This is a game that's about blocking and tackling. And all the guys on the outside, receivers and skill guys, that's all ornaments. This team will be good as it improves its ability to block and tackle. And this staff is on point. I like the way they operate. They're all new. Everything that's new is real intriguing. But I like the discipline within the way this operation is put together. And that goes from the ownership group through the coach and the staff. The staff is intriguing. So I'm excited about it. We've been in last place. So everything is looking good and it's looking up. And I can't wait to see them put the pads on.
So you talk about tackling. They bring in a defensive-minded head coach in Dan Quinn, who did a very good job as defensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys. Had that bad last month of the season as the Cowboys fell apart, but besides that, really took that defense to higher heights. And obviously, with the Falcons having head coaching experience, should have won the Super Bowl, but didn't. So, what are your thoughts to the hire with the Commanders in their current state?
I just like the way they're football people, and it's not hocus pocus. It's about how you warm up. If you watch these guys, they're enthusiastic in warm-ups. And everything looks good. This is my 14th coaching change since 1980.
Wow.
So I've seen that. I'm not overmoved by anything other than when I see pads on, when they get through those scrimmages, and it's a process. And they open up with Tampa, and you got to get through September. And I understand this. But what I like about it is that everybody in that program now is engaged. Everybody understands that it's a process. And when I see the enthusiasm with the veterans, guys who have been here, guys who have been decorated, and these guys are enthusiastic. And I know that when you go from worst to first, you got to have everybody in on the rope, man. This is tug of war. And everybody's engaged. Now, what does that mean? It means that it's a day-to-day process and not that they're away for about 6 to 8 weeks. Now the test is. Everybody's on point when you're under the bright lights and you're under practice. Now that they're alone, they're dispersed. Are guys still going to train on their own? And I believe they will. That's when you really make a lot of distance. It's when you're on your own. The discipline starts when nobody's watching you. And I think this group will come back as sharp as a razor blade based on the influence that they've now gotten. This enthusiasm starts from the ownership, the GM, the head coaches. Everybody now is on the rope. They're holding on to this rope in a way that I haven't seen in a long time.
We are talking to former Bengals and Commanders tight end Rick Doc Walker. It's so crazy because in the offseason, they bring in Dan Quinn. They bring in a new offensive coordinator. Now they bring in a new quarterback. And now you're hearing stories come out that Brandon Ayuk could become available. Now there's no guarantees to that, but Jaden Daniels is a very close friend of Brandon Ayuk. What are your thoughts to that story? I mean, it doesn't mean that he's available, but you all know and everybody knows that the San Francisco 49ers are not going to extend him. They're not going to give him the money that he wants. So he either is going to be traded or he's going to be a free agent in the offseason. Could you see the Washington Commanders make a move for a guy like Brandon Ayuk?
Well, that's the thing about when you trust your GM and that I mean, they'll handle that. That's now the agents that are out now trying to get hits. That's a social media move. That's a part of a negotiation. I love Ayuk. I mean, this dude is a beast. Who wouldn't love him? But right now, those are things that's part of a negotiation. So what you hear now, I pay no attention to any of that. That's rumblings, and that's part of a negotiation that goes public. What'll happen is what'll happen. We got receivers. We got everything you need right now. If he comes, great. If he doesn't come, you still got to play. But that, to me, I don't buy into any of that whatsoever.
So there's a lot of talk of the NFL expanding to an 18-game season. As a former player yourself, we've heard a lot of other current players like Ryan Kelly and Deshaun Elliott, and most recently come out saying they don't like it. So what are your thoughts as a former player with the 18-game potential?
Well, it's going to happen. I mean, it's inevitable. The question is, where's the money come? The money now is everywhere. It's going to be 18. We know it's going to be 18. The question is, are the players going to get paid for it? And with all streaming coming in, it's all about now, are the dollars available? Yes, the dollars are available. So can the players get it? Can the old guys that bones are broken up now? The pot is rich. It's all out there. Everybody's got to get their share of it. It's inevitable, and I do believe that it will happen.
You know, it's so interesting when we talk about the quarterback play and how important the quarterback play is. And over the last couple of years, your division is probably not the best place for it. I mean, the New York Giants, they can't keep a quarterback healthy since Eli Manning. I mean, the Commanders, how many quarterbacks have they had over the last couple of years? I mean, Sam Howell looked pretty good last year, but then fell apart in the second half of the season. The Cowboys, everybody hates Dak Prescott for some reason. Everybody hates him, but he's one of the better quarterbacks.
Heck of a quarterback.
Yeah, I think he is too. And Jalen Hurts, he's a heck of a quarterback too. But last year, after he got his money, he wasn't the same quarterback that he was the year before. So what are your thoughts of the NFC East as far as the quarterback play? Do you think that will change now that you have Jaden Daniels?
Well, you know, if you look at the Eagles, they lost coordinator. They lost two coordinators that were highly valuable. You can't discount leadership throughout an entire team. And when you lose coordinators, that they come in contact with players, they make players better. It's no different than all of us had instructors in high school, college, and the best teachers get the best results out of their pupils. If you take them out and the substitute comes in, they're not as good. It's parenting. Not all parents are built equally. And so you got to, when you aspire to move on and you bring in people, a lot of these people in this league bring in their friends. Their friends aren't good. And as a result, the patients don't get better. The players digress. They don't improve. You bring in rookies, they need to be coached up. There are a lot of people that are not qualified to have positions in this league. Everybody knows that. And the results are guys start flatlining. The better your coaches, the better your players. You get people to come in here and they start getting people to believe in systems, and you got to tailor things to meet the needs. A lot of guys in this, now it's about the bag. Guys are getting paid. Everybody wants to get paid. How about people that are producing? And don't forget the big uglies. This league will never change. It's a league up front. How strong are you up front? Can you protect these assets? If you put these quarterbacks in there and they get their heads knocked off, guess what? You're in trouble. So to me, it's all about up front. It starts on the line of scrimmage. Some of the best left tackles in the league right now falling apart. You know, you got guys right now that have Bakhtiari still trying to make a move. Tyrod Taylor. These guys are like Frankensteins. They can't play the entire season, but they're still very valuable. Look at the Jets. They got people on their bodies. These guys are like mummies, and they're dragging them out there. Can they get through 17, 18? I don't think so. It's a young man's game. And so these, can you block people? It's still about O-line, D-line, edge rushers. Who's blocking them?
Well, you said there were mummies.
Hey, man, there's 6 guys in this league right now that very few people can block. And if they're healthy, one of them's in Cleveland, one of them's in Pittsburgh, one of them's out in San Francisco. You all know where they are. And you got to get people to block them. This is still about the wide receivers are making a fortune now. You can get one at 7-Eleven now. And all the people that are out here paying all this money for wide receivers, it's the O-line, D-line world, man. You got to get people to block these people. Look who's in this. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They let the best guy in the world go. And what they do? Went back and won the Super Bowl. Miami signing receivers. Where are they going to be when the Super Bowl is going? They're going to be with us watching it again. It's the inside-out league. Just watch what happens. Mark my word, man. It's just all about the big uglies. Watch what happens. So I don't get afraid by all that. It's about interior.
If you could find a wide receiver at 7-Eleven, you tell me what 7-Eleven I have to go to for the Jets.
I'm telling you right now, because these 7-on-7 leagues, guys are coming out of college right now, hitting the ground and they're flying and they're running. You're drafting guys and they're boom, they're hitting the ground running. What you got to do now is get guys that you're drafting that can come out there and start on the offensive line and protect. Just look at the league right now. There's 6 guys controlling everything. If you got one, you're in a world of, I mean, who's going to block them? Watch what happens. Like up in New York, we can't block Thibodeau, but everybody else is. He's killed us. We have beat the Giants now last 4 times we played them. It's not that complicated, man. So I'm looking at the interior. So the most important guys to me, the offensive line coaches. I think right now, guys that come out here and can coach people up. It's about your staff, your offensive line. Can you get people and then scheming them up? We used to block. You got to block with everybody, man. Your tight ends and your backs, they've got to be able to block. I don't care how talented people are. Can they help you protect? Look at Patrick Mahomes. Look what they did. They won with a young defense. I don't think the defensive staff of the Chiefs got enough credit for what they did. They won with infants on defense. They got a Gila monster on the defensive line. They won with a young people on their defense. They got 3 studs that make the world turn, but they got a lot of young people to implement it. Andy Reid deserves all the credit in the world, and so does their defensive staff. And they won it again. So I don't chase the traffic, man. I'm telling you, this league is not that complicated. But there are 3 positions you cannot be weak at. And that is left tackle. You got to have somebody that can pressure the quarterback and somebody that can block somebody that pressures the quarterback. And you cannot play without a guy that can cover at corner. You show me somebody that don't have anybody that can cover somebody, I'll show you somebody that'd be at home watching the playoffs.
Before I get to my question, I just want to say I know your mother's in the hospital, so I'm giving her all the best as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she's out now, but
awesome.
She's out right now. But at 92, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
She's fighting.
I mean, my grandfather's 94. 94. Still pumping, man. My uncle Dave, he lived to like 97 years old. And these guys, my grandfather, he swims every day. He goes to the gym 4 times a week.
That's the key. Movement.
It's crazy. I mean, it's serious. But my mom, she's 68 years old. She barely can get out of bed. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, you got to keep moving, man. And I mean, we lost, Willie Mays. And for me, my father was a Giants fanatic, and losing Mays, and we last talked, Bill Walton. I mean, it's like these are people that
Jerry
my
West.
heroes, man. Jerry with the logo, man, the logo. We're going up in Southern California, man, and it's just, and Bill Walton, man, what a guy. I mean, and these guys were just such gladiators. And him as a broadcaster, I used to love listening to Bill doing the Pac-12 games and the Conference of Champions and what he brought. And we just lost an icon out here in the D.C. area, Coach Butch McAdams, who joined me on the show. I mean, he was on with me Saturday, and he died in his sleep. Wow. Saturday night. And so we don't know, man. And all of us, and we love these games. And then we lose these heroes and these icons of the game. And it's been great highlights of Bill. And who didn't love Walton, man? Just a guy who just exuded competition. And his body was just shattered. I mean, the surgeries he had. And we saw him at UCLA. I mean, in his youth, he was just incredibly talented. He played with his body, man, being repaired, and we didn't even see. He played with so little athleticism that he had, and he was still a great Celtic at the end, playing with about maybe 40% of his athleticism. The guy was just a Viking, man. Loved that dude, man. And so we lose a lot, and this is a great game, man. We're watching now Olympic trials going on. There's a lot going on. The WNBA now, we're watching that great competition. I mean, we got a lot to be thankful for.
That's a question. That's a question I have
great.
for you. That's a question I have. The whole Caitlin Clark thing, and
yeah,
a lot of these WNBA
Angel
players.
Reese. You can't say Caitlin Clark without saying Angel Reese. They go together. It's
All
like
right,
Bird
Angel Reese
and Magic. You got to say them both together.
All right, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, but the ones that are the one that's putting fannies in the seats is Caitlin Clark. That's what everybody is saying. And a lot of these ex-WNBA players, and even old WNBA players, have been throwing her under the bus. I mean, Diana Taurasi attacked her before she even stepped on a WNBA court. When she was in the finals, she said that it's not going to cut it. 3-point shooters don't cut it in the WNBA. Well, that's not true. It happened in the NBA. Steph Curry, it worked for Steph. So you're going to tell me it doesn't work for her? That's a bunch of garbage. And then the whole Olympic thing, how the Olympic team decided to pass her up when it would have been great for her to even if she was sitting the bench, her being there in Paris and being the face of the WNBA really right now would definitely drive people to watch the Olympics. I mean, what is going on with these WNBA players that want to be the spotlight? They want to be in the spotlight. They're finally in the spotlight, and they're tossing it away because they don't want a woman who came from college basketball to take over the league right by storm.
Well, when you look at it, but if you look, she's not one of the top 12 players in the WNBA.
No, she's not.
And if you watch the WNBA, they have some ballers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that you haven't seen them, so you may not know them. But if you invest into the league, I understand their point. Some people didn't want her, maybe want her on the bench, and people wanting her to play and her not being able to play. If she had women on her team that could catch her passes, she'd have so many assists right now, you wouldn't believe it. They can't catch her passes. Her passing ability is unbelievable. It's like Irvin Magic Johnson. The way she passes, they can't catch the passes. And she does have that. It's that 3-point dagger that separates her. Anunoby has the same kind of shot. She's not the only person hitting 3-point, but she is incredible in that respect. She's getting better and better. He had no practice time. They play it's almost like they play like every other night. There are a lot of things in there people are not giving her credit for. She'll get stronger and get tougher, and she's getting there. Reese now, I called her Dennis Rodman. Now she's morphing into Charles Barkley. She put up 26 the other night, and she was the man-child. She was horsing, and she's scoring 26 points. If she can horse like that, she goes from Rodman to Barkley, and she will elevate herself into the game. But again, I'm watching now 2 or 3 games per week in its entirety and enjoying it because it's competitive. And yeah, now what Caitlin has done, she's made people watch. The numbers, they're filling arenas. They're moving out of small joints into arenas. And it's good because it's competitive. I had 3 boys. I didn't have a daughter. If I had a daughter, I'd be all over this as well. Anything that is encouraging people to watch sports is good. It's no different than back in the 50s and 60s when a lot of the black players couldn't even play the sport.
Right.
And they got into it, and you see what happened. I don't want exclusion in anything. Anybody that can play deserves the right to play, and let's support it. And let's support it because they deserve our eyeballs on it because they're talented, not because of where they're from or what they look like, because they can play.
So I know
I'm
you also
all for it. I think it's great.
So I know also you do a lot of work with college football as well, and they've had a very drastic offseason as well with all the NIL deals. Now the deal is just passed with the Power 5 conferences, these super conferences they're turning into, where they can pay a certain amount of money to players. So yeah, what are your thoughts to everything that's happened?
Well, it's chaotic. It's crazy. It'll have to mellow itself out. But let's face it, a lot of schools have been running NIL the last 20 years. Now they're letting everybody in on it. So, it's going to work itself out. It is amazing to me how disorganized it started. And these people that run these governing boards, to me, they must be smoking weed. I just cannot understand how they let this thing get so far out of whack. They have to come in and reel it in, and they're going to still have to mellow this thing out before we get it fixed. I think it's going to be like the old AFL, NFL. It's going to end up being 2 super conferences eventually with SEC and the Big Ten. It looks like it's going to get to that. Whatever it's going to be, let's just get to it. And let's mellow this thing out to where we have some more guidelines. I don't like the look of guys walking around driving Ferraris or whatever on campus as freshmen. That to me, maybe I'm just the old guy on the lawn. I think there's something about we had to put money together to get pizzas. I think there was something about poverty and united, and it brought us closer together. I don't get it, but that's my age. I'm not supposed to understand it, but it does have to be governed. It can't be wildcatting. It's just all these people with money paying kids to come in, but it's a team sport. So the receivers and all the glamour positions get the money, but the linemen are doing all the blocking. No, it's got to be proportionate so that everybody has a better quality of life. Remember back when Kentucky had these dorms that all these kids had, the super dorm. You got people that are large. They shouldn't be on these cots. It should be more like staying at a great hotel. These guys are enormous. They shouldn't be on these single cots. It should be allotted so that big people need bigger space. So we should work this thing out. But it went way, way overboard. And I think it'll mellow itself out. And it'll work itself out. But we have to come to the idea that for years and years, these, quote, bowl game committees was completely bank robbers. The people made tons of money. They gave us a gift bag, okay? And these people made millions and millions of dollars.
Of course.
So it went from one extreme that was ridiculously ignorant, and now maybe it's going to write itself out. But let's open it up so more than 4 teams, it should be 12 or 14 into that national championship pool. Who are we kidding? And let's not assume that a team can't make it to the top. That's why the St. Mary's, that's why March Madness is so special. Let's let them play it out on the field.
Look what they did to the Seminoles.
BYU won a national championship one year. They didn't think that could happen. Let's let it be settled on the field. Let's not think somebody can't do something. Let's let them prove it. Let's level the playing field a little bit. This thing has been out of whack forever, and we know it. So now it'll probably settle itself out in a few years.
We are talking to former Bengals and Commanders tight end Rick Doc Walker, and you were just mentioning, let him play it out. The Seminoles, one of the main reasons why the Seminoles decided not to play any of their players against the Georgia Bulldogs was because they were pretty much wrong by the committee. The way they treated them. This is a team that was undefeated. And yes, they didn't have their star quarterback, but nevertheless, this was one of the best defenses in the country. And 2 of them that went in the first round. and you decided, hey, you know what? You're not good enough because you don't have a quarterback. So even though you were undefeated and you were one of very few, I think you were the only undefeated team or the second undefeated
Besides
team.
the two in the national championship. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're the only undefeated team that wasn't in the Final Four. And the only reason why is because you didn't have a quarterback. So I disagree. I didn't understand that. What were your thoughts, that whole situation with the Seminoles?
Well, when that went down, that was tough. But I always say that the only team to ever be undefeated was the Miami Dolphins, and Earl Morrall played half the season. So whose responsibility is it for you to have more than one quarterback?
Mm.
Now, they went down to the third, not the backup. They were down to the third. So are we not supposed to make you responsible for your own depth?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, at some point, have more than one. Coaching them up.
Yeah. I mean, they recruit these guys, but remember,
The Dolphins went
recruiting them.
undefeated with two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What are we saying? Nobody's ever done it but Miami. Earl Morrall played half the season. They won it all.
Mm.
So what point is responsibility? Have more than one.
Yeah.
Coach them up. If you got a great defense, you have more than one quarterback. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you. I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I still think that, hey, if you're an undefeated,
You can't say you can only win with one quarterback.
No.
You got to coach them up.
I agree, and that's why they should have made the Final Four, and they should have given them an opportunity to see if they can get over the hump. Even though the Georgia Bulldogs absolutely smashed them,
absolutely
the way they did, they just made them. They embarrassed them. But everybody
What were
says
they 29-1, 29-1. They lost one game and they're out.
One game. They lost against Alabama. By the way, they were better than Alabama. They should have been.
They could have had an argument.
Yeah, that was the other debate. So, like, even Georgia over Alabama could have been a thing. So,
I mean, it was ridiculous.
At some point, we got to say either you won or you didn't. You know, we can't just go you lost, but no, either won or you didn't. That's what it's all about.
The Bulldogs are the favorites of going.
They got a heck of a program. You got to admit it.
It's unbelievable. They're unbelievable. They really are, and maybe that's why Saban decided, to step away, because he said, you know what, I don't have a chance against these guys.
Well, in his defense, the whole thing has changed.
Yes.
Where you're building a program where you're giving kids an opportunity to win, and all of a sudden now you're going into a guy, and the guy's telling you, hey, coach, how much you giving me? They've done nothing. And now they're coming to you saying, how much you giving me? So if you, in that culture, that's too much of a culture shock. I can see guys that have been dominant dictators for that long to say, I'm out. They don't want to retrace. They don't want to retrace it, because the culture now is some kid who's done nothing is saying, how much are you going to give me to come? Not what am I going to earn to be a part of what you built for 2 decades. So that's a value system. And we're allowing these kids to now change that whole parameter. What are you giving me? Not what am I going to earn by being a part of what you built. That's our fault. We allowed that to happen. That's on us, to me.
So
what's the sense of building a tradition or building something that people should aspire to? Now we're throwing, no, you've done nothing on this next level, and you want me to pay you instead of you earning the right to be a part of what we've built, and then you earn or get what you should have. Suppose they did it this way. You come in and this money goes into escrow, and then you get it upon you meeting a certain level or your academic level.
Somebody said that.
And then you get it. Yeah.
Somebody said that.
That would have been a smart way for one of these adults to put that on the board. So now maybe your attendance or maybe you maintaining a specific average would have had to stay in line with that. And then you get paid upon your accomplishments, meeting certain criteria.
Interesting.
How come somebody couldn't have come up with that? How hard is that? You're dangling the carrot.
I've been saying for years, Rick, I've been saying for years that these players should be making money. I've been saying they should be making money. It's wrong. These coaches are making 10, 11, 12 million. I heard that Jim Harbaugh, if he decided to stay with Michigan, that he was going to make like $13 million. I mean, $13 million for what? Coaching these young kids and recruiting them?
And recruiting guys to illegally make signs.
I mean, me and you, Doc.
Well, okay.
All
right, so he's putting 120,000 people in the stadium.
Yep.
They're funding 8 other sports.
Yeah.
What about all the other sports?
I know.
Football is funding.
Yeah.
Is anybody coming back from gymnastics, from other sports, kicking these guys back, saying, "Hey, thank you"? Who are we kidding?
No, and I'm not taking shots at the program. I'm taking shots at the coaches. Why are they making all that money? You put anybody over there, and I'm not saying somebody's Jim Harbaugh. I'm not saying that, but
please don't do that.
If you put an assistant coach, a good assistant coach over there, even though if he's not a big name, you're going to tell me that look what Oregon's doing right now. Oh, what's his name again? Lanning. Lanning was an assistant coach for many, many years. Many, many years. He's on the Saban tree. Okay. And this guy, he's one of the best coaches right now in college football, but he never got a shot. Now, finally, Oregon gave him a shot. And now this guy's he's getting all these recruiters and all this other stuff. And he's recruiting all these great players. So again, you'll only know unless you give these guys a shot. But is he making the money that Jim Harbaugh was making? Is he making what Dabo Sweeney is making, who's bitching and moaning? I mean, that guy, I've never seen somebody cry so much in my life. And
One national championship. He's done a lot at Clemson.
Oh, there's no question.
I was doing ACC football his first year.
Okay.
He did everything he said he was going to do. He built that program into a juggernaut. I mean, if you've been there on a Saturday for a Clemson home football game, it's a spectacle. I mean, these guys are special. They're not a lot of people that can duplicate what some of these guys have done. I wouldn't throw them in a lump barrel and say anybody can do it. Anybody can't do it.
I didn't say that.
It wasn't done before them.
I didn't say that, Doc. Okay. I said, I'm saying that there are other assistant coaches that'll never get a chance or haven't gotten a chance yet that could do just as well, just as well. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anybody. You're going to tell me, you know what? I've never coached before, a minor league team or anything like that. I'm going to go and coach. I'm going to go coach offense, defense. Even I play Madden. And I know football. I watch football. I understand how the game is played. I understand how to do reads and all that other stuff. I understand. But when you're in the middle of a game, things happen. There's audibles. There's different things that happen in a game that you have to be there for a significant amount of time to see it over and over and over again to point it out and see it for what it is. So I understand. It's crazy how much these guys make. It's ridiculous. And they're complaining that a player on their team is getting $150,000 a year because he's playing and he's only going to play with your team for 2 years, 3 years until he becomes available to go to the NFL draft because he needs to help his family.
Well, the money's there. The money's there. It's not like they're taking money from something that doesn't exist.
Right.
The television rights that they're getting with streaming and all the different levels that we have right now, it's enormous amounts of revenue. College football, I mean, it's beyond. The gold mine is there. And how we appropriate the money and what we do with it, yeah, there are a lot of things we could probably do better. But let's not act like it's not a cash cow.
No.
It is a cash cow.
Football's a cash cow.
Make no doubt, it's a cash cow. And hoops is not too far behind. Just watch right now with baseball, watching the Vols, who just won their first national championship. I mean, that was epic. I mean, all of this it's good stuff. The softball and watching everything. It's been a marvelous summer. It really has been.
You're a marvelous guy. We really appreciate the time as always. You're great. You give us such good content and your games. It's not just football. We spoke about women's basketball, and now we're speaking about college sports. You mentioned gymnastics. I mean, you're a big sports fan as we see. And hey, listen, why don't you coach? Why don't you?
Hey man, look, we're fortunate. If you can make coin, this is what we're working. We're the luckiest people on this planet. I agree with Bill. What Walton was saying, he's absolutely right. I mean, what you've carved out and what you've created that we all enjoy, we're actually working, and this is what we've carved out. And we're all blessed to be able to do this because you're doing what you want to do with your life.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely about it. And it is something that, especially from a youth standpoint, look at these kids their lives will change tomorrow night in the NBA draft. Watching Klingon, the UConn big man, and that and I didn't know about that his mother she had died of breast cancer, and why he stayed at his high school, because he wanted to do that for her, because she was a hoopster. And he could have gone to IMG and the academies, and I didn't know the backstory. And now he stayed there because he wanted to win a championship there because she was a hoopster. I love this guy, and I love Coach Hurley. I'm glad he stayed at UConn and didn't take – and I love the purple and gold, but he stayed at UConn and continuing to build that monster program that they have. I love the way he coaches. And the Lakers right now, I'm glad he didn't do it. I really am. I'm just so glad that he stayed there because I love dominance and people that build programs that they don't. Now we're in a culture that you can't be dominant. And what's happening down in South Carolina on the women's program, that's a dominant program. I love the fact that we have people that are still trying to build programs like with Coach K, which John Wooden built. In our culture right now, it's not really something that we talk about people to get on runs. Everybody wants to have a new champion No, I want somebody to have tradition to where, like the Yankees, no facial hair. In this new age that you can have rules that people adhere to because they have a standard. And they set a standard that's higher than other people. That with all the TikTok and all the social media, there's still people that have standards and they want to rise higher above it because winning does matter. And you can take programs that haven't won, like what's going on with Joe Burrow. I hope Joe Cool is healthy because I love the fact that one guy came in and took a program that was dead and took him to a Super Bowl. That's the stories that we need. We need a guy who can flip the program, and he's a bad man. And then having Patrick Mahomes, who's not running around talking about getting the bag. No, he could be the highest paid player in all of sports, but it ain't about that. It's about winning championships. And I love the fact that Patrick Mahomes is not running around talking about how much he can make. He's focused on how many rings he can win, like Brady. And we got to really applaud these people right now that aren't waking up every day worried about how much money they can make, but they're focused on how many championships they can win and they can be dominant, man. And I love that. It's not just about the bag. It's about winning. And we got to get into that because now with wagering and fantasy and all that, we got to get off the fact that it's still about winning. And I'm never going to get off that.
Well, you could share the bag with me. That's all I'm going to say. But thank you, Doc, as always. You're fantastic. I mean, they should be sharing the bag with you. You complimenting them. I mean,
no, man. I just don't want it. I just don't want it to be. The bag is cool, but let's just keep trying to win. Man, it's an Olympic year, brother. Don't you want to see some win? Haven't you been seeing the swimming pools and stadiums? That's blowing me away.
Come on, I'm an Olympic fan. What are you kidding me? When the Olympics start
man.
for the 25, 28 days, I'm watching the swimming. I'm watching the water polo.
Love it.
I'm all over it. I'm all over it,
man. Everything.
We can watch it together. We'll do a video feed.
You got to bring me back, man. We'll talk about gold. Let's go get gold. USA. That's the only time we really are patriotic, when we're going against somebody else. Yeah. We're not fighting amongst ourselves. Let's go for it. USA.
Listen, it's enough that we're going to be watching a debate on Thursday. That's enough for me. But anyways.
We hope.
That's true. We hope. That's true. But we really appreciate the time, as always. You're fantastic.
Hey, man, I'm honored, man. Thank you, guys.
We're honored. And you're fantastic. And you do such a great job. And keep up the good work. And we'll talk to you a lot faster than 6 months. I really do love you. And you really give us the best content. So we really appreciate you, Doc.
Hey, brother, we're lucky, man, that we can do what we do, man. God bless you, brothers, man. Peace
you
out.
Too. Rick Doc Walker. Fantastic. Great personality. Knows his sports. Everything. He's fantastic. There's nothing that Mr. Doc can't do. I mean, you should learn something from him, Speedy.
I've learned a lot from him. He had some great stories, great
He's
insight.
the Doc, man.
Yeah, great insight on everything. It was fantastic.
What's up, Doc? Could you do that for us?
What's up, Doc?
Oh, please don't do that. You don't want to scare anybody away.
No, I'm not.
You're scaring me away.
I'm not a voice actor. I know that.
No, thank God you're not a voice actor, but you are a comedian. I mean, I don't want to throw anything. I don't want to scare Rick away, but you're definitely one of a kind. That's for sure. Howard Stern would eat you up alive. I mean,
I don't-
really eat you up alive.
I don't need to be eaten by Howard Stern.
Good for you. No, it's not good for me. It's good for all of us, right, Speedy?
It's good for both. I would not want to be eaten by Howard Stern, and I don't think anyone else would either.
How do you know? I mean, he's a big, tall guy. He's strong. He's curly.
99% of the world would too. Yeah, I think 99% of the world would not want to be eaten by Howard Stern.
Well, somebody would.
I know. There's enough weird people out there that
There
might,
are enough weird people in the world.
Yeah,
There
that
definitely-
represents the other 1%.
Well, we have Let's Parlay in about 10 minutes, but Edwin Diaz seems to be a story right now. John Heyman reports that Edwin Diaz has been suspended for 10 games following his ejection from Sunday's game, having a foreign substance on his hands. Diaz was ejected by the umpires before even throwing a pitch in the ninth inning that game. Mets manager Carlos Mendoza said that Diaz, what did they score? This game's over. Said that Diaz had too much rosin on his hand, but the umpires said they detected more than just rosin on his hand. Diaz also said he had just sweat, dirt, rosin on his hands, but the umpires said it looked different and much different color. Diaz has a 4.7 ERA, 33 strikeouts, 7 saves, 4 blown saves in 23 innings this season. Since the MLB started ejecting pitchers with sticky substances, 3 of the 7 pitchers that were ejected were Mets. So, and I remember Max Scherzer crying about it.
And that's probably why.
I can't believe the umpires went this far. I really can't. Because he even said, Edwin Diaz said after the game that he will continue doing it because he's been doing it since the time he came into the league. Now, I understand the umpires are trying to make the game close. See, they don't want to make the game, spread apart where the pitchers have the dominance and the hitters can't hit anything, where it becomes a defensive game. They want to turn it into an offensive game. They want to give baseball an opportunity where it's something to watch every single day, where you're seeing a team score 9 runs against the Yankees, which a team that doesn't get 9 runs in a game against one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, the Mets
not the best.
The Mets might get 9 runs for the rest of the week.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And by the way, what a catch by Aaron Judge, by the way. But you look at this story, and Edwin Diaz has a lot to argue about with this. First of all, 10 games. The Mets have no closer. They can't bring anybody in from their farm system. That's the new rules with the MLB. When somebody gets suspended for something like this, I think it's a crock. I think it's terrible how baseball could assume anything that they see by just looking at the color of his hands. Okay. Everybody has a different color on their skin. Okay. Am I wrong? I mean, my hands are pink. All right. If you look at my hands right now, they're pink. That means I have a lot of blood flow. But somebody like Speedy has very white hands. He doesn't have pink hands. So if there is rosin on my hands and I'm sweating a lot worse than Speedy, that color would come out differently with the rosin. Am I wrong or right? It would be different. So you're calculating the color that you see on the majority of the players' hands when you look at their fingers. That doesn't make sense. Baseball either needs to have a tester, actually have a tester that they can poke or touch somebody's hands and it'll tell them if it's rosin or if it isn't, or stop with these rules, because this has been going on since the end of time. Okay. Baseball has been around for over 100 years there. And I'm going to go back to it. How many times in the 40s and the 30s, you heard there was somebody throwing a spitball, somebody was throwing a snot ball, somebody was throwing a screwball, or whatever the hell they were calling it. I mean, people would put their goat cheese on the balls, on the seams of the ball. I mean, there was so many stories over the years that you've heard in baseball where there was cheating going on, but nobody said anything or nobody did anything. Now, all of a sudden, because these pitchers are throwing 100 miles per hour, these hitters are hitting off-speed pitches going 95 miles per hour, that baseball needs to find a way where there's less cheating. And that's the problem with professional sports. Everybody's trying to change the game. Everybody's trying to make the game better. Why does the game need fixing? Besides football and CTE, the game should have never been changed. The rules should never have changed. The fact that it's a more offensive game and how defenses have to work harder to stop players, and now with the new kickoff rule, does that make sense? Does that work for the game? Yeah, it works for the offenses. It works for the quarterbacks that are dominant. How does that help the other teams? Now you look at baseball. Baseball, you look at the different balls. They're corked, they're deuced, or the bats are corked, or something like that, or the bases are bigger than they always are, and they're taking this away, and there's a pitch clock, and now they want electric, or what do they call that, robotic AI umpires, because they think it'll make the game better. It's not going to make the game better, ladies and gentlemen. How does it make the game better? And now with this rosin thing, and I know, listen, Spider Tap and all that other stuff. You think that Garrett Cole was the only one that used Spider Tap? Come on, guys. You're going to tell me Max Scherzer didn't use anything in the past, and why he was not a Justin Verlander never used any of it? They never were caught because they were never looking for it. The game's different, but changing the rules doesn't make the game better. It doesn't. How does it make it better? Look at the goalies in the NHL. I sat down with a bunch of ex-NHL goaltenders, including John Van Beesbrook, who was 5'8" when he played in the NHL. And he had a successful career, out of over 300 wins. He was one of the greatest goaltenders in United States history. Okay? You know what he told me? He told me, not only are the goalies bigger, but the pads are bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And the game has changed because of it. Because now you're never going to see a 5'8", 5'9" goaltender that is going to make it to the NHL. You'd be lucky if you see a 6-foot goaltender. You got to be 6'2", 6'3", or bigger. You got to be a giant to be a goalie in the NHL now. Why? Because that's what GMs are looking for. That's what organizations are looking for. It's different. It's a different game, yes, but changing the rules. Now, 2-line passes, I understand why hockey took that away because it slowed down the game, but it worked for the 90s. It worked in the early 2000s. Right. Why did they change it? Because Gary Bettman wanted to see more offense. That's what Gary wanted to see. If you wanted to see more offense, why don't you tell the goalies to wear lesser pads? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Why are the goalies getting bigger pads? Why are the gloves 2 times the size they were in the 90s?
Yeah, I think they have more padding, like even with their chest area as well. So, I mean, it hasn't reduced injuries that much. There's still a lot of goalies that get hurt, but still, it's not an ideal thing.
And now getting back to baseball. Edwin Diaz is a good guy. I don't know much about him. I didn't meet him with, obviously, Nathan when he was signing autographs over there at the brewery. But I know his agent. I know he's a good guy. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean good guys don't cheat. I mean, everybody cheats. If you're trying to get one step over everybody else, you're going to find a way. But when he has come out and said at the end of the game, I'm going to continuously keep doing it. I am not going to stop. Is that inside the Bark home run? No, it wasn't. It was Aaron Judge hitting a double.
Yeah, it looked like they threw home and he took an extra base.
It doesn't matter. The game's over. Yankee fans are all happy. I don't know why. Anyways, I think this is crazy. I think baseball needs to look at it. I think they need to waive the suspension. I think they need to look more in depth with it. I think they need to find a tool that can judge what is on their finger. That you can touch it and it will tell you if it's rosin or if it's not. If it's not rosin, there's got to be a tool that they can make out there that they can say it's either dirt, rosin, or something like that.
Yeah.
Where they can obviously decide if they're cheating or not, because it didn't look like anything but rosin. Yeah. I looked at his fingers. I watched the replays. I saw when the umpires were looking at his hands, it was a different coloration, but he's also Puerto Rican.
Right.
Okay. I mean, what is it different? If I'm like, for instance, Scoops is black, right? He's African-American. All right. If I put rosin on my hands and he put rosin on his hands, wouldn't it look different?
Yeah.
It would look different. So And what did he say? What did Fish
I'm
say?
saying he says the ump said it wasn't rosin. It was the stickiest stuff
I know.
I've seen. Which that's where I think Errol's right. You need some kind of testing.
Bring Fish in. Bring Fish.
You need some kind of testing to make that kind of thing work, to make sure that that's actually what it is, because it is kind of weird that between Drew Smith last year, which is the weirdest one I've seen of all the suspensions that we've seen so far. Obviously, Scherzer's been rebellious against it for a while, and he wasn't pitching well, so I'm not surprised with him. I'm not as annoyed at him, but like this one's is very weird. I know Diaz was
Bring Scoop in. He can join the conversation.
Yeah, and Diaz obviously wasn't pitching well either, but you also, this is the third time it's happened to the Mets. I'm sure there's other instances where that's going to happen. Remember, there was the one in the playoff game with the whole Musgrove situation, and maybe I'm sure that alleviated to it as well, where all the Mets fans thought, oh, he's using something, he's licking his head. Meanwhile, that was just sweats.
Yeah, listen, every ump that we've seen that's suspended somebody has said this is the stickiest stuff he's seen in testing this, and they've been testing this for a while. They've done hundreds
testing
of gloves.
what? Touching it?
Every single one says the same thing.
What are you
now,
testing?
I know, but they all have the same line. Yeah, I don't know. They're just touching it. They're going through like some basic examination. You're absolutely right, Speedy. There needs to be some kind of universal tester, some kind of like
that was me,
transparent way that they do it.
Yeah,
I'm
one of our
sorry.
guests said that too. Like, I think they were mentioning it. Yeah,
it was one of the guests. Oh, that's who it was.
I don't remember
Either
one
way.
of the guests.
Errol, that was a great
one of the
comment by
pictures
you.
we had on like the beginning of the year.
There's got to be a tester. There's got to be something out there that you can say it's rosin or dirt or whatever it is. Even if it's not rosin or dirt, they're cheating. That's what I would say. There has to be a tester that they could just put on the fingers and say, okay, that's rosin. Let them go. I mean, because this has been going on since the end of time. Rosin's been on the mound for how many years? It's 60 years, 70 years they've been using rosin. And then in the 40s and the 30s and when Babe Ruth played, I mean, how many times have we heard? And obviously pitchers aren't throwing 100 miles per hour, but there were knuckleball pitchers. Knuckleball pitchers were putting spit on it, snot on it, wiping their asses with it. I don't know what the hell they were doing with it. And they were impossible to hit. So because they threw the knuckle, it was okay. And it was legal. It was a legal pitch. And I just don't understand. There has to be some kind of tool to really prove if it's not rosin. That's just my opinion.
I think
yeah. So look, it's one of those things. There's no universal test, so everyone's pushing the boundary. Is there another thing that we can do to get around it? Remember with HGH, they would get around it. They accused Ray Lewis of using the deer antler spray.
He probably was.
That was the workaround. He probably was, but you know what? They didn't find it illegal yet, so some guys are going to try to push that line. Every big athlete that's trying to get an edge is trying to do that. You know, Scherzer drops his pants to say that he's got nothing to hide when it happened to him because he was so upset. That was one of the probably the most ridiculous one. If you go back a few years though, my favorite of all time is Michael Pineda when he was on the Yankees, and he just put pine tar on his hand, and he has darker skin, but not as dark as pine tar, and it was obvious to everybody, and it was on camera, and he still played it off like he didn't do it. So I don't know if you could just believe Diaz. Some people are just deny, never apologize. So, I mean, maybe Diaz was using something this time. He hasn't necessarily been very good recently. So
I don't care how bad he's looked. To me, when I looked at his hands, it looked like rosin. He was sweating a lot. You saw him on the mound. He was sweating a lot. He didn't obviously look good over the last couple of weeks. Remember, he's coming back from a major injury, and it usually takes a relief pitcher a year to really clean up before he comes back on the mound and actually pitches well again. So I expect Edwin Diaz to live out that contract and be really, really good. But to point fingers and kick him out of the game because he saw that it was a different coloration in his fingers. I mean, that to me, if I was him, I would say that's a racist statement. And I would also say, all right, so you put the same thing on your finger and see how it turns out on your finger. I mean, seriously, you can't suggest to look at it and say, okay, it's a different coloration in it, so you're cheating. I mean, that would make no sense. What is your thoughts, Scoops?
Well, like you were saying, like the fact of it being like, there's certain ways that you can find out about like how, like touching it wise, testing it wise, and not just like straight up, you're just out of here. I feel like the umpires, they should like in the sense that they have too much power of like, it's my word over yours, of course, like the issue of sticky substance, that is a common issue and that does happen quite often. But, the best case would be, like you guys were mentioning, of course, to find ways to test it so that it's an undisputed decision in the sense of like, exactly what it is that the sticky substance that's being used on their hands. So
I would agree with you on that. I think that the sticky substance and everything that we've seen over the last couple of years with people being thrown out, and there were a lot of Yankees and Mets. It's really, if you look at the 7 or 8 guys that have been thrown out, I would say 5 out of the 7 or 5 out of the 8 people that were thrown out were Yankees and Mets.
Definitely 5 out of the 7. Not in the early first 2 years when they started doing it, but the last 2, definitely.
It's been Yankees and Mets. So obviously people are trying to find an edge, but to say that the edge on the way they're looking at it by the discoloration of it is a little selfish. And I think that the league needs to look at it. They need to figure out a tool or find a tool that makes sense where the league can move forward with this and not point fingers at things that they're unsure of pointing their fingers at a player when a player is coming out and saying that it's rosin. It's been rosin. I haven't changed. And he came out. I have to give him a lot of credit because he said he's going to continue doing that. He's not going to stop.
Well, he's going to turn into Max Scherzer rebel behavior, unfortunately, from what it seems like.
What did he say? What did Josh say?
Before we get to Let's Parlay, Josh says, they said it was too much rosin when in reality rosin bags are placed on the pen and on the field. Yep. Yes, that's very true, which they think it's too much rosin, then they take it out of the pen. Yet Ahmed Rosario got hit in the face the other day because of a pitcher losing control of the ball, which I think is what we were saying. Like they have to try to create some other universal substance that doesn't have those kinds of effects. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. Obviously, pitchers are going to have control issues no matter what, but you do need to have something where they could feel comfortable. And we've had so many different relief pitchers on the show that have said that they handle it in a different way. And it's
been going on since the end of time. Josh is right about that. If these guys are going to get a better grip from it, why not let them use it? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's been going on forever. And again, I know baseball's trying to open up the offense and all that open up Pandora's box. But guess what? If it's been working for over 100 years, why change something? It doesn't make sense. What is he writing over here?
Also, why are certain players allowed to wash their hands? That's a pick and choose. That's the biggest problem, I think.
Yeah, that was another thing with Domingo Germán last year.
Yeah.
Domingo Germán didn't get thrown out of the game. What happened was he got caught red-handed with something on his fingers, and that wasn't rosin. Okay.
I think they were saying one of the Yankees pitchers this year got to wash his hands in one of the games against the Twins. Yet a Twins pitcher was, I think he was like checked twice or something.
I don't know. And I don't know what it is with the Yankees in the league helping out the Yankees. Because to me, you have to be fair. If you're going to be fair with one, you have to be fair with the other. It doesn't make any sense how you're throwing out Diaz, but you're saving another Yankee pitcher by letting him wash his hands. But again, the league needs to figure out a rule. If maybe being caught a second time on the mound, then you throw him out of the game and give him a 10-game suspension. If you think that it's not rosin, you tell them to wash their hand. If you find it on their hand again, then you throw them out. There has to be something. There has to be a tool that makes sense, because you can't just say, well, there's a discolor in your finger, and that looks like gum, or that looks like oil, or that looks like pine tar. I mean, you can't, or whatever it is. You can't suggest to look at something and say, I know what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing. And the MLB needs to look into this a little bit more deeper. And by the way, the Mets are just destroying the Yankees.
Yeah. One more comment as well from Josh before we get to Let's Parlay. By the way, Derek won't be able to make it tonight. Something came up with his fiance, so he texted picks, and so did Wes, but we do have Reno Johnny. And Josh says, his last comment, here's what you do. Test the sample on the hands. Let the pitcher continue to pitch. If he comes back positive after the game, suspend him. If negative, they continue to the next
I would
game.
agree with that. Yeah. I would agree.
That's a good system.
And what did he say over here?
You had 4 umps the other day literally standing around discussing it. Either you know or you don't.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, baseball needs to find a tool that is going to be able to tell them if it's rosin or dirt or something else. If it's anything from rosin or dirt, they should be kicked out of the game. There has to be something. There's a tool out there somewhere. Go on Amazon. I'm sure you can find it. You can find anything on Amazon. Now they have in these DH gates, these Chinese things and stuff like that, you could go on. Now they have these shaving things, like you can shape out your beard and all. It's like a plastic thing that sets up in China, and you could just shave your beard through this this thing. It's crazy. You don't even need to go to a barber anymore. You can do it for yourself. It is crazy. They have all these different tools that probably don't exist here in the United States or very hard to find. So guys, you just got to go on those Chinese, websites. I mean, those apps, those things work. DHgate. I mean, I can name a bunch of them. What's a Temu? Whatever is it? Temu, whatever the hell it is. I mean, you could get a bunch of crap on that. What is you writing over here?
Some pitchers also use suntan lotion, but you can't ban it. Yeah, actually, one of the ones we had on, I think, was mentioning he uses suntan lotion. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to tell me I can't put suntan lotion on my forehead because I could use it to throw a ball? I mean, come on, get out of here. I don't want to get burnt on the mound when it's 95-degree weather and my butt's burning. Right, Speedy? Is your butt burning? No. Does your butt ever burn? Have you ever went butt naked into the beach? No. You've never done that?
No.
You've never done that? No. I'm sorry. Jeff has. Jeff does it all the time.
I believe that.
Okay. When we come back, we'll be doing Let's Parlay with Reno Johnny. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
That's right. Everybody knows the time. I'm Tommy Scoops, bringing you all the Loudmouth Sports Minute. Starting off with the NFL, the Commanders announced several changes to front office personnel, as former Washington QB Doug Williams is being moved to senior advisor for general manager Adam Peters. Team names personnel Chris White as director of pro scouting, with Sarah Zarbo set to be the general manager's assistant. Over in the MLB, the Brewers are acquiring left-handed pitcher Dallas Keuchel from the Mariners. Keuchel is a former American League Cy Young winner and spent the last season in the minor leagues. Keuchel has not pitched in the majors, though, however, since 2023 with the Minnesota Twins. Lastly, the Dodgers are eyeing different players as the trade deadline acquisitions. LA is looking to acquire White Sox starting pitcher Garrett Crochet and outfielder Lewis Robert Jr. before the July 30th trade deadline. Over in Scoops' scores right now, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the scores. Right now, the Mets have a 9-2 lead over the Yankees at the top of the 8th, while Pittsburgh has a 9-4 lead over Cincinnati at the bottom of the 8th. Toronto has a 9-4 lead over Boston at the end of the 8th, while Houston has a 5-0 lead over Colorado. Right now, the Dodgers have a 4-3 lead over the Chicago White Sox, while Kansas City have a 1-0 lead over Miami. Milwaukee has a 2-1 lead over Texas, and currently Oakland and LA are both tied at 0 apiece at the top of the first inning. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for their next segment. Let's parlay on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
I'm not licking anyone. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy every single Tuesday and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. I just want to let everybody know that our show will be tomorrow. It's not going to be Thursday. I'm actually going away for a couple of days, so I will not be here for Thursday, but we are doing a show tomorrow. It'll be live. We'll be with me and Speedy as always, and with all our great guests and everything. So, and that's why we're doing back-to-back shows this week, because I'm going away. But anyways, we do this every single week. It's just Reno Johnny, but we do have Wes's and Derek's picks as well. We call this Let's Parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
Oh, Reno Johnny, you're here. No coaching tonight?
No, we started, but we do a lot. We had a 7-on-7 that we finished last week of the 7-on-7 for the month. And then we do our practices right now in the morning. It's Texas. So you guys are over there bitching about 90-degree weather. We're at 90 at 8 a.m. And it's humid. So we do our workout 7 to 9:30 right now in the summer. and that'll be until school starts, and then we're gonna move it to the right after school.
How do you live like that? You like that?
No, it's. I don't like the weather. I will say that I don't like the weather. Came here for college, kind of never left. The weather's terrible, and I'm also because I'm also in real estate, and so real estate I can't go somewhere where it's too cold for 7
What
months out of
do
the
you
year
not
either.
do? You're doing real estate. You do betting. What else do you do? You coach.
I coach, do real estate. I bet. Take care of my 1.5-year-old. Me and my wife kind of split duties on that, depending on work schedules and all that. We have a babysitter that comes over, but for the most part, we take. What
does the missus do?
She works, and then hangs out with baby boy.
What does she do? What does she do if you don't mind?
She's in sales.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
she's
she's
a
in
saleswoman.
sales.
You're a salesman because you're doing real estate. So very, very interesting. It's an interesting life in the Johnny family.
Yeah, we're busy, constantly kind of doing stuff, especially with football. Because this year I am taking on varsity. Last year I took the year off in varsity. I was doing middle school varsity a couple years ago, and last year I was just doing middle school. This year I still get the middle school program for basketball and football, and then I'm also going to be on part of the varsity staff, and we're going to have like 4 or 5 JV games, and I'll be the offensive coordinator for those. So busy, but it keeps me busy, keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah, it keeps everybody out of trouble except Speedy. Speedy's never not in trouble, especially with me, right, Speedy?
I don't know.
You're a troublemaker, Speedy. Look at you. Look at you. I mean, he doesn't look like a troublemaker, but he is. Ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
always the worst. The ones that don't look like a troublemaker.
The quiet ones. You got to be
ones.
No. the rocket kicks. I mean, he knows how to throw those, right, Speedy?
How do you throw a kick?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the one who's throwing them.
You don't throw a kick unless I'm chopping my own leg off, which I'm not going to do.
Is that you can throw a kick? Like
you can throw a kick.
Throw a punch, throw a kick.
I guess metaphorically speaking, I could, but
yeah.
Do you think you could show us online right now?
No, I'm not in. Look at this table. You look at this room. You think I have room to throw a kick? There's not nearly enough room to do that.
For a guy who's unathletic, he's not athletic. He can throw a high kick. It's pretty funny, actually.
I'm not a kicker. I can't do that. I can throw a punch. You don't give me throw a punch, but that's it for me. Throw a punch. That you can definitely do.
Speedy, you could throw a punch, right?
No, not that way.
Could you throw a punch?
No. Really.
Show us an uppercut.
I think anybody could. You could throw one. It may not be. May not be good, but everybody can throw one.
Blurring out with the green screen. It's not going to.
When you do that, it looks like you're like trying to stick that up somebody's ass.
No, it looks just distorted.
I don't know. Do that again. Show him again.
It looks distorted.
Lefty. Sounds like it's like you're cursing at somebody.
The hell with ass cheeks.
All right, so Reno, you know what to do.
Yeah, man.
We're going to give you 3 picks and your final one for the parlay. I know you were red hot the last time you were on. How are you doing over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, we've stayed pretty steady. We get hot and then we kind of mellow out and kind of go teeter totter back and forth. And then we get another hot streak. We just got to avoid the losing streaks, which we've done a pretty good job at so far. We coming into today 3-0. I was all over both the NBA series and I'm watching the game. Get the out and you mother. Oh my goodness. Watching the game right now. It was all over the Celtics series. It was all over the Florida Panthers series. Made money in both those. I will say I gave a little back in Florida's series because I thought they were going to win in 5 or 6. It became a little sweat.
You did say that.
But still did good there. Baseball's been pretty good. I think I'm number 3 right now, number 4 on Vegas Insider. I took a bad beat. I'm on the way to 2 bad beats right now. I took a bad beat earlier. I had under 3.5 in the Phillies game. Phillies and Tigers first 5.
Did you have the Mets kicking the Yankees' ass right now?
I didn't touch that series. The one I had was 0-0 going into the bottom of the 5th, and I had under 3.5, and they scored 4. So bad beat there. I didn't touch the Yankees Mets series. I looked at it. I liked the Mets only because I didn't think the Yankees were worth -150. Ultimately didn't take it. There's two hot teams right there. They're both coming in kind of playing some good baseball. Offensively, even pitching, they've both been playing really well. So didn't touch that series. I do have a game. It just started now. It'll be my first play. It started about 9 minutes ago, so I still want to count it for this week. But it's going to be the Nationals team total over 4.5. Now they're in the bottom of the first, still 0-0. However, this Nationals team's a lot better than they've been in the years past. They actually have a better offense than people would think. This is a team that's 38-40, right? The Nationals came in probably expects to be one of the worst teams in the league, bottom 5, bottom 10. They're kind of middle of the pack right now. Their offense has been a lot better. I think Gore has been great. They could probably win the game first 5 anytime you any way you kind of chop it up, first 5 or the full game. But I like them to score. They're going to face Adam Mazur, who's been not very good. He's given up 14 earned runs in just 17.1 innings through 4 starts. Typically gets beat up kind of early, looking like a bullpen's going to have to come in and save the day. The bullpen kind of got taxed in yesterday's win at a 7-6 clip. So I think no matter what happens, win or lose, the Nationals are going to be able to put up some runs. And so we're gonna take them in the first in our first play for them to score over 4.5. It's at -120. Probably live on 2, getting better value since they didn't score in the first inning. So that's my first play. Second play, let's call it what it is. All right. Orioles got to win a game eventually. They've lost 5 straight games after winning the Yankees series. If the Orioles could just play the AL East all year, they'd be in really good shape. I think they're like 85% right now against the AL East. Everyone else kind of getting a fits. They got swept against Houston. They've lost the first 2 against the Guardians. They will have Grayson Rodriguez, who has shown some slippage in the last couple games. However, they'll face Carlos Carrasco, who's just not been very good. He's got a high 5 ERA. This lineup's got some good history against him. I will say his last start was good. He went 6 innings, 1 earned run, just 4 hits against the Blue Jays, but very deceiving. The Blue Jays just can't hit the baseball. I mean, they were kind of excited. They had that young guy come up, one of their top prospects. He had 1 start. He's suspended 80 games. So, nothing's going right in Toronto. So I don't really look at that start as a measure of betting or fading the guy. So I do look at the 2 of the previous 3 starts. He allowed 5 or more. He hasn't gone more than 5 innings in any of those 3 starts. So I think he's going to potentially get rocked. So I'm going to take the Orioles in 2 different ways. I'm going to take their team total over 4.5 for play 2. And I'm going to take their first 5 on the run line, which is going to be -0.5 at +105. So I got it at. It's probably going to be moving here in the morning. So I like those 2 plays for plays 2 and 3. And I will say that's my first Orioles bet in about 2 weeks. Wow. I kind of preface it. I can't bet the Orioles a lot. I got to really, really like the game, partly because they're not playing well, and 2, just being a fan, I got to really try carefully.
They're lucky. They're actually lucky that the Yankees aren't playing well right now for the past week and a half, because if the Yankees were playing well, they just pull away from them. But the Yankees haven't played well either. So both teams, everybody keeps saying, "Oh, I'm worried about the Yankees," but every single team right now in the AL East is not playing well. So
yeah, the whole AL East isn't playing well. But I'm not really worried. Like Boston's probably playing the best actually in the AL East over the last couple of weeks. Maybe not the last couple of games, but the last couple of weeks, Boston's probably been playing the best, most consistent baseball. Ultimately, when you look at the AL East, for me, the Yankees are going to come down to health. Garrett Cole hasn't looked good. He's coming off injury, so we don't really know what to expect out of him. Any kind of tweakage in that, it's an elbow, right? So any kind of tweakage, like he might head right back to the IL. Gil, and that's not how you say it. I don't know how. I know I've heard him say
heel.
Huh? Is it? It's not Gil. Isn't that Gil or something like that?
Heel. It's like a high heel.
Yeah.
Speedy likes to wear high heels.
No, I
But
don't.
he's been great. He's been phenomenal, actually. Did they score again? Couldn't get the out. No, they did score again. Oh, sorry. He's been great, but again, rookie kind of slump might come in. You have Rizzo wasn't really playing great, but he's on the IL with a broken bone. Soto hit the stints a little bit. I don't know. Maybe another pitch hits Judge if if somebody's out there watching, they want to hit Judge again, and you don't know. For me, the Yankees the last couple of years, it's always been their health. So that's going to be their issue. The Orioles' issue is their pitching. I think the Orioles are the second best offense in Major League Baseball because they can do it in so many different ways. And the Dodgers are number one, I think Orioles number two. But their pitching's really outperformed what I had expected, especially their starting Cole Irvin, who finally got hit a little bit today, allowing 4 earned runs. He ends up allowing 8 runs, 4 of them earned because of an error. But he's pitching out of his mind until today. Grayson Rodriguez hasn't really lived up to expectations so far. Cade Povich has kind of been hit or miss. So their pitching's been a trouble. And then their bullpen. Last year they had one of the best bullpens in the league with their closer. They don't have that anymore. So those two teams have a lot of question marks. I do think that both those teams are just leaps and bounds better than the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Red Sox. So I think it's going to come down to those two in the end. Can the Yankees stay healthy? Can the Orioles figure out pitching? And then the trade deadline is going to be kind of interesting for the Orioles because for a long time we have a great we've had the best farm system in the last couple of years. Probably that's 4 or 5 years. Orioles are the best farm system. But now when you're competing, you brought a bunch of guys up. You still have guys in the farm system. Now the goal is, okay, when are we trying to win? Are we going to try and trade away some of those farm pieces and bring in guys to win now? Because then if that doesn't pan out, you kind of fall back into the Orioles of just rebuilding all over again, right? So it's going to be very interesting. AL East not playing well. I will say I was happy the Orioles did take that series. I will say that game was some solace there. In terms of just a little rivalry that we got going on there. But other than that, baseball's been great. I have one more play that I'm going to give out here this is the fourth piece, right? The parlay piece.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull I got my notes here, man. I got the game. I got the Marlins game. That's not going well for me right now. It's going to be tomorrow. Dylan Cease versus DJ Hurts, Nationals, Padres. Padres are going to be a kind of a weird team in the fact that like they were supposed to win a World Series probably a couple years ago. That just never panned out. They brought in Juan Soto. That didn't work. They gave away pieces, by the way, for Juan Soto in C.J. Abrams and Mackenzie Gore. Both, by the way, that I think are young studs having really good seasons up in Washington. And now they got rid of that piece that they traded away for. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic with what they got going on. They do not have Tatis. I just think that the Nationals are always going to be great value. You're looking at plus 170 for this game tomorrow against a Padres team that really hasn't played well. 42-41, Nationals 38-40. They're just an overvalued side. I actually kind of like what DJ Hurts offers, and Dylan Cease just isn't the guy that they thought they were going to get. Tends to happen in a way. I think you're pitching it on a bad team, so you're kind of like really highlighted and kind of look when you have those good starts, it looks better because you're on such a bad team. Win or lose, like you're still the star. In San Diego, the expectations are a ton higher than they are in Chicago as far as the White Sox go. So I think he hasn't lived up to those expectations. He struggled a lot. I like DJ Hurts. I will say he did not have a good start. Only 3.2 innings last time out, giving up 3 earned runs, 7 hits. But he was in Colorado. Feel like anybody goes to Colorado and they can struggle. His previous 2 starts at home, he went 10.1 innings, 2 earned runs total. I don't think he's going to shut out the Padres. They still got a lot of firepower on that team as far as the top half.
Aaron Judge just hit a grand slam. Oh, God.
What's the score in that game?
9-7 now?
9-7.
Okay, 9-7.
Yeah, 9-7. Yeah, here comes the Mets bullpen again.
He can hit all the grand slams he wants. All right. They're still losing. All right. By the way, y'all are Yankee fans or Mets fans?
I'm a Mets fan. He's a Yankee fan.
Oh, Mets, Yankees. Okay. Both those teams.
Okay. Orioles fan. Okay.
Both those teams could go to LA and take LA, and then LA could float off into the ocean together. It would be great.
There you go.
Probably unpopular opinion. I think baseball is better when the Yankees are bad. But I think
it's better when the Yankees are good.
See, I think baseball is better when the Yankees are bad because then you don't have all the fake fans all the
Oh,
Yankee
stop
fans.
it. I'm a fake fan. What is that?
I'm not saying you're a fake fan. You live in New York. I mean, the show's based. I'm talking about like I live in Texas and I'm surrounded by Yankee fans. Never been in New York. Never been in New York. And so I just find it like when they're good, here they all come.
Yankee fans. Hidden Yankee
So I don't like. I'm okay if I see Yankee fans. I'm in the East Coast. Give me the East Coast. I'll see.
He
Yankee
threw that right down in his wheelhouse.
I just saw that too. That was not a good pitch.
I mean,
That was
why
not
would
a
you?
good pitch.
Why would you pitch that? I mean, you put yourself in harm's way. The best power hitter in baseball, you throw it right down the middle.
That was not
that's
a good
smart.
pitch.
That was smart.
Who was that?
Hey,
Young?
that's bullpen.
Danny
Reed
Young?
Garrett. Reed. Oh, Danny Young. Oh,
Garrett.
No, Reed Garrett came in after. No, Danny Young was he's a fringe guy. Like he's like sometimes he goes up and down with the minor league options.
Wasn't that Garrett that just threw that?
No,
ball?
Reed Garrett just got the next guy out.
Reed Garrett came in after the Grand Slam.
Yeah. No,
Danny,
he's
I don't even know who Danny Young is. So
no, he's not. He was like a waiver pickup from like the White Sox or something like that. Like he doesn't come up very often.
But you know what though? To be honest, he caught Judge, but he hasn't pitched that bad. I mean, if you look at he's a relief pitcher. He's only allowed 2 earned before today, 2 earned runs through 16.2 innings. That's not bad for a relief guy to come in and pitch an inning. He faced the wrong guy. Even today, though, 2 of those runs are his. He's got tagged for 2. You know what I mean? So, not terrible. His ERA is 2.53 out of 16.1 innings. But Ottavino's the guy for the Mets has kind of surprised me because Ottavino's been terrible. Yeah. He's been terrible for him. So that's my final play. Give me the Nationals tomorrow at like plus 170 to win the game on the money line. We've been hot, so let's see if we can kind of keep it going.
Well, Speedy isn't hot, so I don't know.
But I'll read some of Derek's picks now. Derek naturally has a golf bet. This one is the Rocket Mortgage Classic this weekend.
Ooh, I'm going to be watching that.
He's got a Toasty, Tosti, top 40 at plus 140. Here's your NBA draft bet, Fish, that you wanted badly. Bronny James over 48.5 pick selection. So Derek does not think he's going to be going into the first round like some other people do.
I do.
He has the Rangers and the money line for the first 5 innings tomorrow. And then another golf bet, Kalel, where top 20 minus 120 on FanDuel for that Rocket Mortgage Classic. And then Wes had some CFL plays as well. He's got the Edmonton Elks covering plus 6.5. They're not going to elk this time. They're going to cover the spread. Calgary Stampeders plus 2.5. Ottawa, the Red Blacks minus 1. And the Montreal Alouettes minus 3.5.
There you go.
I do think. What do y'all think about Bronny? Sorry, Bronny.
Bronny's going in the first round.
So I kind of think so too, because
it's a terrible draft. That's why it's just a bad draft.
Lakers will cater to him.
I do too.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that this is a very bad draft, and he's the nepotism is gonna at the end of the day, teams are gonna believe that if they can get him, they're automatically getting LeBron James. Which I don't know if the Lakers don't get him because LeBron opted out, right? And then he did go back. He signed that contract, so he is locked in with the Lakers. Not only that, they got JJ Redick. So if Lakers don't draft him, the only way that's happening is if the Lakers trade for Bronny. And I don't know if they're going to.
No, the Lakers are going to draft him. He's going to go in the first.
There's other teams that want him. The Timberwolves.
Yep.
And the Thunder. There's another team that wants him.
Another one that they want.
The Suns want him. The Timberwolves, OKC was interested in him. The Hawks are interested in him.
The Hawks for sure. I just don't know what do you do? Like if you draft him, LeBron's not going to you. They're gonna because one, if you're the Timberwolves, why would you draft him? To get LeBron James for what max 3 years, you're gonna have to give up so much. So I don't really understand what's gonna happen there. I don't think it's a good draft. I thought my initial reaction, my final thought, I thought he was gonna go Duquesne. Somebody thought it was crazy, but look, he didn't do well at USC, big conference, didn't even play a lot. Hey, go to Duquesne. You're probably starting. You're in a much smaller conference. You also are. The new head coach is a family friend of LeBron James, right? They grew up together.
Oh, okay.
Right? So now you go to Duquesne. You're in a smaller conference, less expectations. You're playing with the guy that's probably known you since you were a baby, family friends with LeBron James, the best friends since high school, whatever it was. And now you're in a great situation, and you have less like expectations to bring a national championship or to really compete there at Duquesne. I thought that was the best situation for him. I had thought, I bet my friend, I think that's where he's going to go if he doesn't if he doesn't stay at USC. He ended up going to the draft. I think that's a bad move. I think I don't know. For me, I think Bryce James is the better of the.
Oh, he is. He's the better player, and Bryce is going to be a pretty good NBA player. He's going to be really, really good. He's a good shooter. He's got great size. He's the same size as his father. I think he's an inch smaller than his father right now. So
no, he definitely got his dad's height. Bronny got his mom's height.
Josh just said the Knicks just got Bridges.
Really?
That's what he said.
Wow.
The Knicks just got Bridges?
Yeah, they just got Bridges. That's what he just said.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. Like the Nets.
Was
we traded with the Knicks?
I'm just telling you what he told me.
Oh, yeah. Here, Walsh reports the Brooklyn Nets have agreed principle on a trade to send Mikal Bridges to the Knicks for Bojan Bogdanovic, 4 unprotected first-round picks, a protected first-round pick via the Bucks, an unprotected pick swap, and a second-rounder.
I like it. I really like it. I told you they were going to go after Mikal Bridges.
It's kind of a lot for him.
Well, that's a
Depends
lot.
on when the draft pick
nothing.
But just for Bogdanovic is not it's surprising.
They still have a first round draft pick, don't they? They keep one of them.
I think they have to technically. They didn't. This tweet doesn't show the years yet. We'll say, but yeah, they have to keep it for the every other year type thing. So.
I knew this was going to happen. I'm very surprised that the Knicks made this. But remember, the draft is tomorrow. They keep one of their draft picks.
Is the draft tomorrow or Thursday?
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow's the draft.
So I thought so. My friend was saying that it's on Thursday. I'm like, I don't think so because I know the debate's on Thursday. So I knew they were going to have it.
That's a good move. That's a good move by the Knicks. That means the whole Paul George thing. I don't know. That's done.
You don't think that's too much? I think it's a lot.
No, because
it depends on when the years are with the picks,
the best pick of that trade was the Milwaukee Bucks pick. You just got an all-star player for three first-round draft picks that could be in the teens or 20s.
And plus, usually a lot of the times with NBA trades too, they're like spread out to all right. It's the 2025, 7 and 9 first-round picks. Like it's
and Josh just broke it, so I'm gonna give Josh the credit.
Yes.
He did break that.
Definitely, I got the text right now. I just got it.
He just broke it. Wow. So what is the trade?
So the total trade is Bogdanovic, which is that's
is
the only
nothing.
thing.
Yeah.
It is 4 unprotected first round picks, 1 protected. That's the Bucks pick. An unprotected pick swap and a second rounder. But they don't reveal the years yet.
They're going to keep one of their first round draft picks this year. They're not going to send them both, so they're going to keep one.
Right. So they may either keep their own or the Dallas. I think the Mavericks. They have
and Josh just said OG back as well. So they're.
Man, that's crazy because I'm just thinking about it now too. Like that's the whole damn Villanova roster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're bringing OG, and Josh just said they're bringing OG back. So. Automatically, the Knicks are going to be one of the favorites to coming out of the Eastern Conference now.
Johnny, I think they had to actually waive like Ryan Arcidiacono at the start of the year. He was like the last guy off the bench, but he was still on the Knicks roster.
Yeah.
They traded. They'll trade Robinson for picks too. That's what Josh is saying right now. But
my last take, I guess, because I do got to go, is the New York Knicks, and I take this how you want, and I believe this wholeheartedly. The New York Knicks are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. The expectations are always there. The fans get
Reno Johnny for calling the show. We love you. Thank you very much.
Thank
you so much. Goodbye. I love you still, but goodbye.
Am I not right?
You're wrong. What are you, nuts? Get out of here. Get out of here. Go.
Expectations are high.
Yeah,
They never.
You're ruining every great part of this show right here. This is a good story, and you just ruined the whole thing.
You know what? I should go. I just don't like New York, so it's hard for me to back the New York teams. I don't like the New York teams. I love New York, not the New York teams.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Reno Johnny. We love
Not embracing your nonsense.
Thanks for having me, guys. We'll talk soon.
We'll talk, yes. Then Reno Johnny taking shots at the New York Knicks, as always. Wow, what a trade, man. What a trade. Good. That means no Paul George.
Yeah, thank God.
They'll probably extend Mikal Bridges now because Bridges will be a free agent after next year. So they'll extend him, and they're going to give OG Anunoby his contract. So that is their new roster. It will be their starting lineup will be Mikal Bridges, Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, and Dante DiVincenzo. That will be their starting lineup for next year. That's what it looks like as of right now. So, and it is all Villanova now. The Knicks. It's all Villanova.
It's good for both of them.
It's good for both of us.
Oh, yeah.
Mikal Bridges is happy. Obviously, you saw him post. You saw Fish post up what he said on Twitter. So he's.
I'm
happy.
sure he was even shocked.
Yes, and Randall. They have Julius Randall there for another year. So
So as long as he's not traded, then yeah. But he wasn't even dealt to this trade.
I mean,
so,
their
yeah.
roster is stacked now.
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot about Julius Randall. So Mikal Bridges could actually start at center if they want to play small. Because Mikal is what 6'9", 6'10".
I mean, yeah, they could also play Randall there too, I guess, I suppose. But Mikal Bridges, I think, is a little taller, so that would make more sense.
Oh, you can spread it out because OG's coming back. They're going to extend OG,
right?
So,
so DiVincenzo probably come off the bench.
Bench, but you're going to need who's going to play the two.
That would be probably OG. I would imagine.
OG's going to play the two.
I would think, yeah. That would probably make the most sense if you're going to put Robinson in the regular.
I think you put OG at the 3. I would put Mikal Bridges at the 4, or Randall at the 4, and Mikal Bridges at the 5. I would play small.
Oh, if you're playing small, yeah.
I would play small with the talent that they have.
Yeah, and then DiVincenzo's playing too. Yeah.
And then you have Mitchell Robinson, unless they move Mitchell Robinson.
Or Hart plays too, I guess.
Who's that?
Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
Yeah, but can't they trade? They could get a bunch for Randall. Can't they trade Randall? Because we have Precious too.
Yeah, they have Precious. They do have Precious for one more year. He's under contract for one more year.
Right. So he can be our rebounder guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he can be, back up Hart and Stein and kind of play that kind of role.
I don't think the Knicks are going to trade Julius Randle. I think they're going to bring him back. I think they're going to run it back next year with Mikal Bridges. That's what I think they're going to do. They're a better team with Mikal Bridges instead of Bogdanovich. And Mikal Bridges.
I don't know. I like Bogdanovich's three-point ability, though.
They have enough of those guys already, though.
They have. You added an all-star player in Mikal Bridges who played fantastic with the Nets. I'm very surprised the Nets did this.
Yeah.
I think Mikal actually probably told him either you trade me or I'm going to them for free agency anyways. Try to get as much as you can out of them because I'm going there anyway, which I predicted was going to happen. I thought Mikal Bridges was the guy that they wanted. I did. I was very surprised that this happened like this. I mean, Josh broke it. I didn't even know. What is this over here? What does he write? What do you write? Bridges, 2 years left. So Bridges don't even have to be extended. Actually, Bridges is getting $23 million this year, and $24 million the year after. So they don't even have to really touch Bridges for at least a couple of years. By then, they'll probably, and remember, Jalen Brunson took less money. He's making $160 million. They're going to bring OG back. There's no doubt they're bringing OG back. And Julius Randle will be off in 2 years too. So by the time they're ready to renegotiate Bridges' contract, Randle is off. So they'll be able to give Mikal Bridges his extension. So it's going to be an all Villanova.
They basically got Mikal Bridges for free because those 4 first-round draft picks are all going to be the 30th pick or 32nd pick or whatever because we're winning it all. So that's going to be the last pick in the first round every time, which is a worthless pick in the NBA for the most part.
The Milwaukee's Buck pick is going to be, it's only protected in the top 4. So if Milwaukee is bad next year, which they could be getting a top 10 pick. So
no, they're still a playoff team.
We'll see. If they lose Dame Lillard, What are they going to do over there? They have no bench, and they're depending on Chris Middleton and Giannis, who probably doesn't even want to be there. So the 4 protected picks are 25, 27, 29, and 31. And a 28 swap.
No, I thought it was 4 unprotected picks. And
Yeah, that's what it said.
was-
The 4 unprotected picks, 25, 27, 29, and 31. So that's the
they keep
years.
theirs this year.
That's the years. So 25, 27, 29, and 31. So and all those picks could be, like Jeff says, in the 20s and the 30s.
No, 30s. Yes, we're winning it all. Championships everywhere.
It's such a
this does it.
That's the talk next up tomorrow. That'll be the story that we're going to get into. Oh yeah. I mean, the Mikal.
And I think technically the draft is both days. I realize you guys were debating. Whether
No.
the draft was
Round
Wednesday or
1.
Thursday.
Yeah, round 1 is on Wednesday, and now they have a round 2 on Thursdays, which is so stupid. I don't understand. Nobody cares about round 2. Nobody cares. So
Right, but they're using the same strategy that the NFL used,
Mm-hmm.
right? When the NFL was like, we're going to have an event every month.
Yeah.
Right, like the Super Bowl is February. The draft is like the end of March or April or whatever. There's something in March then too or something. Maybe whatever it is. They try to do something every kind of month and drag things out, and the NBA is trying to do that too.
I'm shocked that the Nets did this. I mean, they pretty much handed away their best player for nothing. I don't understand it.
Well, they can package all those picks and move up.
Yes, I'm shocked that they would do something in the same division against in the same city. Why would you do that? I mean, I would have traded him away to somewhere else and then let that team trade him to the Knicks. He probably told them it's the Knicks or nobody else. That's where he wants to go. And then that's probably gave him his wish. And they tried to get as much as they possibly can back from the New York Knicks.
Right, but when you're that bad, you're just trying to do anything with anybody to get better. Right. They're not a Red Sox Yankees of the height rivalry where there's a blood feud and you wouldn't do anything to get better. Like the Nets are our little brothers, and like they know that, and like they need as many assets as possible to get better.
Which is what they
don't
should
care
do,
who
right?
is.
Because they're so far down that that's what they should do. But it's not like they even got the better value that they should have in this deal.
You could have waited. You probably could have gotten more tomorrow. You could have waited and maybe gotten something else. I mean, Bogdanovich they're going to just buy him out. He's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if Bogdanovich goes back to the Knicks. I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks bring him back as a bench guy sitting there because he's going to be bought out. So he'll be a veterans minimum. Right. They could bring him back.
He's basically Joe Harris without the bad contract.
I mean, he can go wherever he wants. Maybe he'll go to the Lakers or something because they need something over there. But
he'll be coaching. JJ Redick will come in the game.
No, he is. I agree.
I think he's still a worthwhile player. Like he can give you 15 minutes a night and shoot some threes and be all right. Like he's still a worthwhile player.
There'll be teams lining up for him when he becomes available because the Nets aren't he's not playing for the Nets next year. They're buying him out, and he's going to be he's going to be free to go wherever he wants. But Mikal Bridges and they said they're still going to resign OG Anunoby, and as Ian Begley says that they believe they're going to sign OG Anunoby. So it makes
Aren't they
sense.
in the same position though? Would that make sense?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, OG Anunoby.
Isn't OG a
2 or 3,
6'9" guy?
Yeah, he's a 2-3.
Right, and they're different skill sets too.
Yes.
Like Bridges is a great defender too, but Bridges gives a lot more on offense than what OG will bring. OG is a good 3-point shooter, but Bridges is a well-rounded player, like all around. And they can, again, versatility does matter.
It's all about, and this, Jeff, that you never have enough. You never have enough. So the Knicks,
right? But there's also a price to be paid, though, right? Because OG wants money too, and you can only pay so many guys. And I would just assume that because the Knicks weren't very deep, or maybe they were and they just didn't play. Thibodeau doesn't play a lot of players. Maybe that's the problem. But
he couldn't with the injuries.
Right, but maybe just getting more guys on the bench.
Why did the Knicks not go as far as they should have? It was because of the injuries. They need depth, and Hartenstein's gone.
But that's my point. So why bring back an Anunoby if with that what's Anunoby going to get, 30, 35 million?
No. He said he would take less money to stay with the Knicks. I think he gets 25.
They all say that. Let's see.
I'm predicting OG gets 4 years, 115 million. That's what I think he's going to get, and I think the Knicks will get.
So that's 30 million a year.
Yeah, that's what he's going to get. He's going to get somewhere around there, and the Knicks have the money. They have the money to do that.
But wouldn't you rather have two guys that you're paying $15 million to and build the depth?
I think they have enough depth right now. They have to keep a player that's valuable to their team.
Hartenstein's gone.
How is it possible you can say two things at the same time and say the problem is their depth, and then you say
because of the injury. Because of the injury.
No, I think the Knicks have depth. I think the size issue is going to affect them if they're not bringing Hartenstein back.
Right.
And they're not, because they're not going to be able to afford him. If they bring OG and Anunoby back, Hartenstein's gone. And they're not bringing him back. And it seems like that's what's going to happen. Hartenstein is going to be the odd man out on this.
Well, they're going to sign one of them, whether it's Mitch or Hartenstein, right?
Mitch is already signed.
He's already signed.
He signed a 4 year, $60 million.
He's got 2 years left on his contract.
Yes, he's got 3 years.
But they were talking about trading him for some reason.
Well, yeah, they're talking about trading him because it's an affordable contract, and
they could move him.
Obviously, he's injury prone.
They could move him, and they keep both their picks this year, which it's surprising that the Nets don't get anything out of that. It's so the Knicks.
I don't know if I'm getting this right or not, but also those 4 picks I think would probably, if they're the Knicks' own picks, I think those picks would be spread out over 8 years, because I don't think that you can trade picks in back-to-back years.
No, they are.
No, 25, 27, 29, 31.
Yeah, they said 25, 27, 29, and 31, and they're unprotected. So, I mean, unless the Knicks are really, really bad in 29 and 31, what are the Nets getting out of this? I mean, they're getting nothing. They like you said, Jeff, they gave away a good player for nothing. That's what they did. It was pretty much.
I don't think it's for nothing, because that is a lot of assets. So they could package those up and move up in the draft.
They could. I don't think the Nets are going to do that. The Nets are just looking to rebuild. Now they got to figure out what they're doing with Ben Simmons. Okay, because Ben he's just eating away of that organization, and he's still, what does he have, 3 years left on that contract? I mean, they need to do something with Ben. Maybe they trade him off to somewhere, pawn him off to some veteran team that's looking for, maybe the Lakers. I mean, maybe they take half the money. Maybe they buy Ben Simmons out or something and just get rid of him. He is just a waste of space. But
yeah, he's completely worthless. Like if you ever feel useless in life, like you just mean nothing, just remember Ben Simmons wears a shooting sleeve, and you'll feel much better about yourself.
I wish I was
shooting sleeve doing for him.
I would love to be Ben Simmons. I'm making $39 million a year. I mean, it'd be pretty nice making free money like that.
Yeah, the money is nice, but is it worth the harassment? Because everyone in the world thinks he's a complete bum and lets him know about it.
What does he care? I mean, by the time he's done, he's a multi-millionaire. His family said, his kids are sad. He has nothing to worry about. I would do it. I would take the abuse just to make that money. I wouldn't care.
You can't even take the abuse on this channel. How would you?
Listen, I take all your crap, that garbage that you spit.
I didn't give you any crap.
Yeah. No.
How am I giving you crap?
You
what did I say tonight? What did I do?
Every time you choke, you give me crap. I mean, seriously.
What did I say tonight?
Every time you sneeze, you give me crap. Everything.
That doesn't even make sense.
What do you mean? It doesn't make sense. It makes sense. Every time you take a dump, you have something to say. So every time you say
I didn't
something.
say anything tonight, did I?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what did I say?
Oh, stop.
Was it the Vlad and Marner thing?
No, that was Anthony LaRocco who said that.
Yeah.
Right. He asked who gets moved first.
Yeah, I responded to his comment. That was an interesting question.
Right. And he asked who gets moved first, Vlad or Marner.
Both of them.
I think Vlad will get moved first, but I think they're both traded. Yeah.
I think they're both going.
Yeah.
I think they're both.
I don't think Vlad's going anywhere, but Marner, I think, will be out of town.
I think they're both going. I do. I think they're both going. Yo, Mikal Bridges finally hit my line. Josh Hart. Oh, Josh.
I love it for our Knicks. We already won one championship this year with the Westchester Knicks. Now it's the big clubs.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for calling.
You don't love the Westchester Knicks?
No, I think you're out of your mind. We love you, Jeff.
Why?
Thank you for calling.
That's what.
Talk to you tomorrow, Jeff. We love you. Talk to you tomorrow.
Probably not.
He's out of his mind. He's lost his friggin' mind.
I am a disturbing person.
I am a disturbing person, but he's even more disturbing. I have lost my. I don't even know what I've lost. Speedy, have you lost anything?
Behavior.
Have you lost anything in your pants tonight?
I would hope not.
No, you sure? Westchester Knicks. Are you kidding me? I think him and Keith need to hang out. What do you think? You think they'd be good lovers? You think they'd be good lovers? What do you think, Keith and
wouldn't be able to judge
Jeff?
that.
You think they'd be attracted
I would
to one
not
another?
be able to judge that.
Would you be attracted to Jeff?
No.
You wouldn't be attracted to Jeff? Why?
What's stopping you from doing
What's
it?
wrong with Jeff?
Nothing. There's a difference in that kind of connection.
So how about Keith? Have you seen Keith? What do you think?
No.
Would you sit on his lap and ask him for, Christmas gifts? No. Keith wants Speedy. He says he wants you.
I'm not sitting on anyone's lap.
I mean, you could be his elf.
I'm not sitting on anyone's lap.
I mean, seriously, would you sing him like, some songs, like, great Christmas songs? What's your favorite Christmas song, Speedy?
My favorite Christmas song. If you're going for like more of like a comedic one, like I love the one in the Grinch. Like you're
I mean, what is your old favorite Christmas?
If you're going for more like a biblical one, like the old school ones, it probably would be "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." Like a biblical. If you're doing like a biblical.
All right,
one,
sing a piece of the song.
It's the summer.
All right, that doesn't matter.
It's the summer.
Sing it
Sing
to us.
Christmas songs in the summer.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're singing.
I'm not singing Christmas songs in the summer.
Does your dog sing?
No.
Just come out. There he goes. All right. Listen, I could care less what Jeff says. And Speedy, Keith is like in love. He's infatuated with Jeff, man. What do you think?
Okay.
You think they'd be pals?
I'm not the one to judge them.
Maybe what we got to do with this picture over here. We could stick Keith's picture right over here. What do you guys think? Right over here, right by the chastity belt, right in the middle. What do you think? And we'll put Jeff in your mouth. What do you think?
It's vicious graphic, whatever.
But I'm asking you an honest opinion.
Vicious graphic.
Are you infatuated with fish? What? Are you infatuated with fish?
What level?
I mean, fish. You like fish?
As a person, yes. Infatuated, like.
But what is your favorite? What kind of fish do you like?
My favorite type of fish. Individual fish is probably. I like swordfish. That's very good.
Swordfish.
I like, well, obviously crab and lobster. I love
crab and lobster.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a good question. I'm not. I have to like see.
Have you ever let fish sit out in the sun?
What?
Have you ever let fish sit out in the sun?
I guess technically.
Have you? Have you ever smelt a dirty fish?
Yes.
What does it smell like?
Fish.
No, it smells like worse than that. I mean,
Okay,
it smells
sure.
like garbage, right?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite garbage?
What?
What's your favorite garbage food?
What is a favorite garbage?
What is your favorite garbage food?
What?
What is
no
your
sense?
What is your favorite
Garbage food is gross. Like, why would I eat that?
What's your favorite garbage food? What do you like? What garbage food do you like?
Why would I eat food out of the garbage?
You don't know what garbage food is?
Food in the garbage. Or food that smells like fish, apparently.
Garbage food is like potato chips. It's like candy.
You can't just say a snack like normal people.
That's your favorite garbage food snack?
I just don't know why you can't say the word snack like a normal person.
That makes. Wait a second. So when I'm about to go and get potato chips, I'm going for a snack?
It's snack food, yes.
No,
it's not a meal.
It's garbage food.
I mean, let's use it for nachos, but
what's your favorite part on your nachos? What's your favorite? Do you like cheese? What do you like on it?
yes, nacho cheese is good. Thank you, fish. Junk food like a normal person.
That's garbage food.
Nobody says that. They say junk food.
Listen, I say it, and when I say goes here, okay?
That's why it was confusing.
Well, everything's confusing to you.
See,
all right?
I wasn't confused when fish said junk food. I was not confused.
Which armpit smells the worst? Your left or your right?
I don't know.
Have you ever smelt your armpits when it was dirty?
Inadvertently, yes, but
You've never smelt one that was smellier than the other? I don't know. How about your undercarriage? Which side smells the worst?
I don't know.
You've never smelt it?
No, I don't.
You've never smelled
I don't
your
have
dirty
to
underwear?
do a comparison.
Have you ever smelled your dirty underwear?
Inadvertently, yes. But again,
So you just inadvertently just picked up your underwear and smelled it.
I mean, not on purpose.
So why did you do it?
You have to do laundry, don't you?
So you just pick up your underwear and smell it?
Again, inadvertently.
It doesn't make sense inadvertently.
I'm not gonna just like pick that up and go like that. I'm not gonna do that. But if I'm gathering my laundry to go do my laundry, I might smell it. Yeah.
I think you'd be good on cocaine. Did you see that?
Have you ever sniffed lines?
Have you?
What?
Have you ever sniffed a line?
I guess not.
I mean, seriously. Okay, so my
You don't like
list.
powder?
You don't like powder?
Fine.
Have you ever put powder on your balls?
No.
You've never put powder?
No.
So you've never done it. So you let your balls stick.
Sure, I suppose.
Oh, so you know what you should do? This is what you got.
No.
I'm going to tell you this.
No.
You got to use sandpaper.
I'm not putting sandpaper on my skin.
You got to put sandpaper.
I'm not putting sandpaper on my
in
skin.
between your legs.
I'm not putting sandpaper on
And
my
what
skin.
it does is it keeps it from sticking.
I don't care.
It's good.
I don't care.
I want you to try.
I am not putting sandpaper on my skin.
And you just got to rub the inside of
I'm
your
not
leg.
putting sandpaper on my skin.
Why don't you do it?
Because it's rough.
It's everything's rough. I mean, women are rough.
Yeah. Hence why I wouldn't want them to do those things.
You don't want him to use sandpaper on you?
No.
Why?
Because it's rough. Selective amnesia is really kicking in.
Well, let
again.
me ask you a question. This is a really, really good question. All right. You were on a boat. Okay. You're sailing away. All right. And there's one specific food you can bring on that boat. What would it be and why?
Okay, it depends on.
Nope. You got one specific food that you could bring on the boat on your voyage. What would it be and why?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Being that I'm on a boat, I'll be
Sausage?
traveling. No, it probably would have to be something that's like something chicken based. Because
Chicken base.
red meat. There could be some sensitivities, so it would probably have to be something chicken based.
Chick-fil-A?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. It probably wouldn't be my top choice, but
Okay.
that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Mm.
Yeah, I could say, yeah, it probably would have to be one of those top notch. What are those like? Maybe Southern Comfort like chicken sandwiches.
And you're on the voyage, you get like a stomach ache and you need to go and take a crap, but there's no toilet bowl. Where would you take a dump? And what would you wipe yourself with if there's no toilet?
First
paper?
of all, if your boat doesn't have a toilet, you should go out of business. If your boat doesn't have a toilet.
It's a voyage, so no toilet, out of order. Where do you take your crap?
I would probably.
Where would you take your crap, and what would you wipe yourself with?
Probably either have to resist or
You're gonna resist
or
on the
crap.
whole voyage?
Yeah, just hide
You're
and
gonna
do
crap
crap in
yourself?
my pants. I guess. I'm not doing it in public.
So you're gonna crap your pants?
If I can't like resist long enough and I get too much pain, I might have to. I don't know.
You just let it go, right? How would
not,
you
not let it go, but like
what would you do?
like partially.
Partially let it go?
Yeah.
Mm.
Just
And
where
then-
it's not like super uncomfortable type thing. I'm not gonna release everything.
I think you just need to release it.
No, I'm not doing that.
I'll do it.
I'm not doing that.
You just press your stomach. You got to press the intestine area.
I don't
Just
care.
pops right out.
I don't care.
What do you think?
I'm not doing that in public.
And how do you wipe your butt? What do you do?
I don't know. I go for the first.
Pillow sham?
What the hell is that?
How about your blanket? Would you wipe your butt?
No.
What would you do?
Probably would want to keep myself warm on the boat, don't I?
What?
I'm already suffering in one area. I'm not going to do it in another.
So what would you wipe yourself with?
If it's in my own pants, I probably wouldn't care in that moment. I'll endure it until I get off the land, and then I'll go to a bathroom.
But it's a long voyage, so you're gonna be walking around with them.
I didn't say I was going to be walking around.
So what are you gonna be doing for a couple hours, for a day or two? What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
walk around with crap in your pants.
I think me being on a 2-day voyage on a boat with no bathrooms is like borderline. It's like inhumane.
I mean, I was waiting for you to say that you would jump over the board and take a
No,
dump
I'm
that
not an
way.
idiot.
No, I'm not saying jump in the water. You just put your ass.
I'm
over
not
the board.
doing anything like that in public.
So you rather crap your pants?
Yes. Nobody has to know.
So you're walking around with.
I'm not gonna walk around. What are you doing walking around?
So you're gonna sit in dog crap? I mean,
crap.
I'm sorry, human feces. Is that what you're saying?
I guess there's no bathrooms.
All right. Here's one more question for you, and this is a really good one. Okay. Why and where would you cook a chicken? Think about it, right? Why and where would you cook a chicken?
Because I want
No.
roasted
Why?
chicken.
No.
Because I want
Why?
roasted chicken. That's why.
Okay.
I would want roasted chicken.
Where?
A campfire. I'll grill it.
Okay.
Outside. The place I went to in Maine 2 years ago.
So you
that
want
campsite.
So out of all the places you can
That
do,
was a
you
very
could go,
scenic place. Yes.
you just want to do it in a campfire.
Yes. I'm not good at cooking, so I'm not gonna go like crazy.
Okay. This is the last question. There's 3 animals you got to pick. Okay. Which one would you smack them in the ass? Okay. A bull, a bear, a tiger, and why?
I'll be dead either way. I guess
Maybe the bear will
reverse order: tiger, bear, bull.
Tiger, bear, bull. Why the bull last?
Because tiger looks the best. A bear is rare, hard to find, and a bull is just some giant thing. So I don't know.
How about Keith? Would you smack him in the ass?
I'm not gonna smack a person.
I mean, he's worse. He's worse than a bull. You know.
No, he's not.
Yes, he does.
No, he's not.
He kicks. He does that back kick.
And so does a bull. And bulls also stampede at much bigger weight.
Keith stampedes.
Yeah, the bull does it as triple the weight.
Well, how have you ever met Keith? He could be, 1,000 pounds.
Keith, I know you're not 1,000 pounds.
Would you drop the hammer on him?
No.
Would you drop a hammer on him?
No.
Would you drop something on him?
No.
What happens if he says he doesn't like you? What would you tell him?
I would ignore him.
You would you would ignore him? I mean, give me something that you would tell him. Like if you were angry at somebody, give me something that you would say that would piss, like stand up for yourself. What would you say to him? You need to stand up for yourself.
For
and
what?
He's picking on
I need
you.
a context.
All right. I can't think of one right now, but just give me one.
I have no idea. I have no context.
Calls you a little twerp, okay?
I probably wouldn't care.
I'm not going to say it on live radio what he could say to you. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, whatever.
All right, so you let him spank your ass.
What?
You let him spank your ass.
Why would I do that?
Scoops, you'd think that, right? I think you would.
Why would I let anyone spank my ass?
Because it's Keith.
Why? What does that matter?
Keith likes it. You like it.
No, I don't.
How do you know what you like if you?
I'm not going to encourage somebody violently putting hand motions towards my ass.
Why is it violent?
It's a striking motion.
Okay. Well, you can.
It's the equivalent of somebody slapping somebody in the face, except it's in my ass.
How about a rocket? Would you stick a rocket there? It's 4th of July. Would you do it?
No, I'm not putting pyrotechnics inside of my body.
I didn't say put it in your body. I mean, if you want to do that, that would be interesting. Speedy After Dark. I know you see Scoops his head. This fish. What is Scoop like? He's like God or something. What the hell is that? Speedy, you like that?
It's Fish's graphic.
But
ask him. Why don't you ask him?
But you're Speedy.
It's his graphic.
I want you to.
It's his graphic.
I want you to get on that chair right now. Spank your own ass. Could you do that? Do it one time.
No.
What?
I'm not spanking anything.
Why? You don't want to?
No.
Would you spank Josh?
No.
Josh likes it.
Then you do it.
Oh no, he wants you to do it. He's
Well,
he's
tough luck.
infatuated
Tough
with you.
luck.
He wants you to spank him in the ass.
No, he doesn't. First of all, and second of all, tough luck.
Oh, and by the way, Josh says yes, it is. Yes, it is ridiculous. But I mean, which one would you rather smack, Keith or Josh?
I guess Keith,
Why Keith?
because he apparently would like it. I don't know.
Josh would like it too.
Not to the same level.
Maybe if you if you bent them both over and you couldn't see their faces,
I don't care.
could you tell who was who?
I would hope so.
Oh man, Speedy, you are the best, man. You are the best. Put your hands up. Put like you won something. You won a championship. Put your hands up.
In what?
Just say you won something.
In what?
Just won something in grabbing somebody. Here, put your hands up.
I'm not taking a title for a championship and grabbing something. Grabbing somebody.
Oh, grab your crotch, right?
I'm not taking a championship for that.
No.
No.
I take a championship
All right.
for that.
Go ahead.
Why, you want me to do it on live radio?
No. I didn't say I was encouraging it. I'm just saying you could celebrate if you won a championship.
If you could reach in right now and grab fish in that frame, would you do that?
Why?
If he told
What
you,
is the benefit?
he says, I got a tuna fish sandwich for you.
No.
You got to reach in and grab it for me.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, that wouldn't be worth it.
How about a chicken?
Maybe.
So you wouldn't grab in there for a tuna fish sandwich, but you grab for a chicken, a rooster, a cock?
No, not a live chicken.
Which one would you like, a rooster or a hen?
Oh, hen, I guess.
Why would you get a hen?
I think roosters are more aggressive in general.
Yeah, but you're an aggressive person.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
What are you even talking about?
Oh, by the way, Josh says Speedy needs to grab my ass. Only things I'll accept. So you would grab his ass, right?
No.
Why? He wants you to grab your ass?
I don't care.
Why don't you do it?
I don't care about grabbing or slapping or anything else to people's asses.
Only Josh's.
No.
You just said that you were in love.
No.
Speedy wants to cockfight. I think he does.
Yeah, I'm sure you think that.
So do you want to cockfight?
No.
Why don't you want to cockfight?
Misconception.
Misconception. Wait, hold on. I don't understand that. You're gonna have to explain what that means.
You don't know what a misconception is?
I want you to explain it right now.
A false belief. Is that better for your
Terminology?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I want you to tell everybody tomorrow that your misconception of your balls are in your mouth. What do you think?
people who believe that are gullible as hell.
All right, Speedy. I want you to put your hands up in the air like you won something, and we're gonna go. Oh man. You got to get that picture right there. That was great. Oh man, Speedy, you are funny, man. Anyway, Speedy, great show. Did you enjoy yourself?
I did.
Yes. What did you like about the show?
A lot of things.
What was your favorite?
I don't know why.
Was it you looking at Reno Johnny and him smirking at you?
What? Reno Johnny was not smirking at me.
He was smirking at you. He was looking at you.
I don't think he was specifically smirking at me.
He was smirking at you. He really found you to be sexy. He told me.
Yeah, he was not thinking that in that moment.
So what do you think?
That it's you again. You'd have to be stupid gullible to believe that.
So do you find Reno Johnny attractive?
Yes, but again, it has nothing to do with any like.
Would you make babies with him?
No.
If you were a woman.
No, maybe I don't know.
No, maybe I don't know. Speedy, you are funny, man. Look, it's popping up right now. Confirms the Knicks have agreed to deal to acquire Mikal Bridges. Now you got to put your hands up.
I got fish. I know you had a graphic.
What is it? Happy anniversary, Crystal. It's your.
Happy anniversary.
Just wanted to tell my wife happy anniversary. If
Happy
she's paying attention, just tell her that I love her.
Speedy, I want you to sing a song. Give us a song.
I don't have anniversary.
Uptown girl, come on, sing it with me. Come on, sing it.
It's a good one.
Come on, sing it. Come on, let's go.
All right. What is your wife's favorite song, Fish?
Oh, I can't wait for this.
My wife's favorite song.
Who let the dogs
Perfect
out?
by Ed Sheeran.
All right.
I'll try. I don't know it very well, but I'll try.
Oh, I definitely want to hear this.
I'll do the melody.
Put the
Well, I'm just gonna do a melody. I don't perfect Ed Sheeran lyrics. I'll just do a melody. I'm not singing the whole song. I don't know the song.
All right, but play the music so you can sing.
No,
it.
I'm just singing a melody.
You gotta do it for Crystal. And Crystal, you're gonna say, "This is for you, Crystal."
All right.
You gotta play the music. Here we go. This is the great Speedy Petey. Before we go, he's gonna sing a
I'm gonna
beautiful
see. I'll see how well I can do it. I don't know.
All right,
the
put the song
I
on.
don't know the song.
Put the music on the background. We gotta hear it, and you gotta follow it.
I mean, I'm not gonna
Karaoke over there. There's karaoke.
I know that. I'm just saying I'm not gonna. It might not be a good analogy anyway.
It's for Crystal. Who cares?
I don't know the song.
I want you to sing it.
It's the effort that
It's the
matters.
effort. Maybe I'll add a little tune to it too. Don't worry. We're gonna do it in
All right, I don't know if I'm gonna be doing it right anyway. I don't know the song, but let's see what I can do.
See what you can do too.
I don't even know if like this spot would be the actual
Here we go.
beginning of the song.
Here it goes.
Yeah, that's it.
I found a love for me, darling. Just dive right in and
All right, hold on,
follow
hold on.
my lead. Well, I found a girl beautiful and sweet. Oh, I never knew you were the one, someone waiting for me. All right, I'll do one more verse. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give up this time, but darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes, you're holding mine. That's all I'm doing.
Wait, you gotta get to the chorus part. Hold on.
I don't know the song. I don't know what the chorus is. All right. If this is not the chorus, I don't know what it is. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When you said looked like a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight.
Here it goes.
Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home. I found a lover to carry more than just my secrets. To carry love, to carry children of our own. That's all I'm doing. I got 4. I gave you double fish.
What the hell is that?
I don't know the song. I don't know the song.
That was dedicated to Crystal. Say that.
That was great.
That was dedicated to Crystal. Can't sing it. Say that. It was dedicated.
Dedicated to Crystal. Happy anniversary to you and Fish.
That was something you'll never forget, Chris.
Thank you.
That was so.
That was wonderful.
That was wonderful. All right. That was something I'll never forget.
She
I know
said
what
it
else.
made her day. She said it made her day.
It made my day too. I'll never listen to that song again. Oh, Keith says, "Don't quit your day job, Speedy." Speedy, you're the best.
That was great,
that was
Speedy.
great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy anniversary.
Should I sing a song now too before we go?
Thanks.
What do you
man.
want? What do you want me to sing for her, Speedy? What do I got to do? I'll let you pick the songs.
Oh, should we do your specialty? We haven't done that in a while.
Mr. Big?
Yeah, I don't think we've done that in a
come
while.
on.
We should do it.
Oh God, I don't want to scare people off, man. Oh man. All right, I'll sing. Hold on, let me. I haven't sung this song in a long time. All right, let's see here. All right, here we go.
Are you ready? Froze.
There we go. Game over. Hold on, little girl. Show me that he's done to you. Stand up, little girl. Broken heart that be that bad. When it's true, it's true. Fate would twist up both of you. So come on, baby, come on over. Let me be the one to show you I'm the one who wants to be with you. Deep inside you hope I will feel it too. Oh, waited on a line with greens and blues. And just to be the next to be with you. Build up the confidence so you can be on top for once. Wake up, who cares about little boys that talk too much? I've seen it all, no doubt. The game is love was all rained out. So come on, baby, come on over. Let me be the one to lick you. I'm the one who wants to be with you. Deep inside, I hope you feel it too, Speedy. Do you feel it?
This is a song for Crystal.
Waited on a line, greens and blues, just to be the next to be with you. That's you, Speedy.
It's a song for Crystal.
Why be alone? Why can you be together, baby? You can make me life worthwhile, and I will make your mom smile. You like that, Speedy?
It's a song for Crystal.
It's for you.
It's a song for.
I'm singing it to you, man. I'm singing it to you. I want you to feel this like I. Here it goes. On the long. Here we go. Here it goes. Here it is. Here it goes. And here it goes. There comes the chorus. Be with you. When it's through, it's through. And fate the twist of both of you. So come on, baby. Come on over, Speedy. Let your mom be the one to show you. I'm the one who wants to be with her. Deep inside, I hope she feels it too. Waited on a line with greens and peas and blues, just to be the next to be with you. Come on, Speedy, here it is. I'm the one who wants to be with you. Deep inside, I hope she feels it too. She feels it. That definitely does. Waited on a line with greens and blues, right, Speedy? Is it blue? Just to be the next to be with you. To be with you.
That was great.
There you go, Speedy. You like that, Speedy? That was a classic for you.
Wow.
Oh, my God. That was a great song, Speedy. It made me feel good. I almost crapped my pants, but thank you. Anyways, I hope everybody didn't run away from that. And if they did, you probably are better off. Anyways, thank you to all the fans out there. Thank you to Rick Doc Walker. Happy anniversary to our friend Fish and his beautiful wife, Crystal. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be back tomorrow. Yes, we will be here. Speedy is speechless. Well, Speedy has a lot of speechless things, right, Speedy?
Anyone that doesn't talk is speechless.
Anyways, We will be back tomorrow, as always. Great show. Who do we have on tomorrow?
All right, confirmed definitively is our Dolphins and Florida Panthers friend, Alan Poupar from Sports Illustrated. He'll be joining us again at 9:10. And we might, still to be determined, he has to rearrange a work call. We might have our sneakerhead guy, Antoine Harris, coming on if he's able to get out of the call, which will probably be around either 9:30 or so, something like that, if he can get out of the call.
Would you give it to him? Would you give it to him?
No.
But you know what I'm talking about?
I don't care what you're talking about.
I'm just saying. It's an anniversary gift.
Give it to Crystal. It's her anniversary, not mine.
Well, it is your anniversary. It's almost your anniversary with the show, right?
It's next month.
Are we going to sing a song for that?
I don't know.
Can we do a clown song? Can we do a clown song?
If you want to sing a clown song, go ahead. I don't care.
Anyways, thank you to all the fans. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, good night.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster